by nice. Thank you for being honest with me.
Yeah, you know me. I'm pretty like.
Well, I don't know you that well.
I'm an open book, though. Like
I don't know you that well, though, and that's why I wanted to have you on that podcast. Is because, and I think this is a great way to open the podcast, because what I've been telling people when they're like, "Who is this guy?" Because a lot of my friends, some of them know you from, if they're in the scene, they know you.
Right.
If they're not in the scene, they're like, "Who is this guy? What band is he in?" I'm
well,
like,
and especially now, it's been a long time.
right? Because I'm like, he's a badass guitar player. Like, what band is he in? And I was like, he's not. He used to play for Fool Fighters, which is a tribute thing, but he used to be in this band called In the Morning, and
then Bilderberg after that.
They just don't know who you are, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, and they was like, so why are you having him on? Because I've been having, trying to have a reason to have somebody on.
Oh, yeah, like they're plugging something. Or
sure, I mean that's their reason, right?
Yeah, right.
But it might be because I want to, get to know this guy. I admire this guy, or I really like his band, or I think he's a great musician, or I think he's funny, or I like hanging out with him at shows, or whatever, right? There's some reason I have them on. So they're like, why are you having this guy on? And I didn't mean to phrase that like they were questioning you. I meant it. They were questioning me. Like,
right.
So like, what is this dude doing? If he's not in a band, like, so I go, here's what it is. Here's the number one reason I wanted to have you on. And yes, I absolutely respect and admire you as a musician and a guitar player. However, the thing that intrigues me the most about you, because I don't know you that well, is for about 15 or 20 years now, the way I see it, you, and maybe you don't, and it's actually better for the podcast if you disagree with me and call me on this. So don't feel like you need to like agree with me for the sake of like, you know what I mean? Like,
you definitely don't have to worry about that, my friend.
I feel like you, whether you agree with this or not, I feel like you have lived the exact, and I mean exact, political evolutionary life that I have lived. At one point in time, we were both libertarians. At the exact same point in time, we both discovered that the way things change, we became classical liberals.
Yeah.
Right? I think we both went back to being libertarian for a while.
Yeah.
And now how I would refer to myself, and I want to see if you would refer to yourself this way, or if you even think that I'm being accurate about myself, is I'm a liberal Republican now.
Yeah,
so I still hold all the same liberal values I always have. I'm still pro-gay rights. I'm still pro-gay marriage. I'm still pro-choice. None of those philosophies have changed. But the party that used to represent those parties has gone so far in a different direction that I am no longer even remotely ideologically with the Democrats anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
Ironically, more Republicans I agree with. So I still am a liberal because I'm very, I'm a musician. I'm still very like, hey man, do whatever the fuck you want, dude.
Yeah.
If you want to have a fucking orgy, if you want to go have butt sex, go do whatever the fuck you want. If you want to cut your dick off, and I'll even call you a chick, I don't care.
Exactly.
Like, I'm down. I just don't want to legislate it. Right. So that's where, like, I think both of us were libertarians and then classical liberal. But that's why I say right now, I'm a classical liberal. Or I'm sorry, I'm a liberal Republican, because my point is I still have all the liberal beliefs, but it seems like the Republicans are the only ones not trying to force specific legislation to take away or force. Yeah. And I understand people are going to jump on me with the abortion thing. We'll get into that later. But I wanted to touch base with you on that.
Yeah, the abortion thing I definitely want to talk about, because
and we'll get there for sure.
There's just there's a position that people on the left take about like the motivations behind why people are pro-life.
Do you want to start here?
Yeah, let's just start here. Fuck it. Let's start with a really,
not controversial
topic that's not controversial at all, and then we can move on to some more controversial things, that are more hardcore than abortion.
We're definitely going to start hard, and we'll end with all the fun music stuff.
Yeah. So. Okay, so here's what I hear from a lot of, like, the real left-wing, hardcore, pro-choice people, is that they're always, like, hung up on this, you're trying to control my body. Like, there's a bunch of conservatives and right-wing people out there that are just, like, fucking psychos that want to control women's bodies. Like, and they really think this. They think that is our motivation. And it doesn't matter how much you try to explain to them that it's about the fact that we think, because of science and biology, because of biological reality, that the baby that's in your womb is a human being that should be protected, and
now
they have the right to life.
Now let's pause
we need
right
to
here.
err on the side of caution.
So let's pause right here, because this is the point. And the one thing that I respect and side with the Republicans on, even though I'm pro-choice, is that they're willing to define when that group of cells becomes a fetus, becomes a human life.
Right. Conception.
Some people say it's at conception. Some people say it's
any
when the
biologist in the
Some
world
people say,
says life starts at conception. Period.
I mean, but
any
that's
other,
not my argument, right?
But I'm saying any other being, if you ask a biologist, when does life begin? It's at conception. At conception is when you have you got your DNA. You know what color eyes you're gonna have. You know,
not
what
at
sex
conception.
you're going to be.
It's not that quick.
I'm pretty sure.
Not at conception. No, and Jason's
already on it.
So I know it's not at conception, but I don't care. My point is you're willing to have that argument, and you're willing to say there is a time, right? So I don't actually care when it is, because I don't know when it is. This is up for debate. Some people say it's when a heartbeat is detected. Some people say when the fetus has developed enough brain scans for us to know it's dreaming, right? I don't care. Right. I don't care if it's fucking 12 weeks. I don't care if it's 24 weeks. I don't care if it's fucking 6 weeks. My point is, where I respect the Republicans and the conservatives on this, is they're willing to put a number on it.
Right.
The Democrats are not
squishy on it.
They're not even willing to have the conversation.
They'll wriggle right out of it.
That's my point, and that's why I said let's pause here and break this down, because I don't want to waste a lot of podcast time arguing when it happens.
Exactly.
Because I don't know that's ever discussed.
And that's not even that's not even the point I'm trying to drive at. Is
sure. I understand the AI overview, but that's not what I wanted you to look up. What I wanted you to look up is specifically what he said, which is
funny though, because that just said exactly what I said.
Well, sort of. I'm trying to be fair here, and I'm steel manning the opposite side, right? No matter how much I agree with you, I have to steel man the opposite side so we can try to be as fair as possible.
Right.
So, Jason, what I want you to look up
Does
is
life start?
You said a specific thing, and I'm not trying to say you're wrong.
And I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but
I want to just specifically get this one thing.
At conception, is your eye color decided and your DNA
correct? Your eye color, hair color,
and your sex.
Those are
sex might. I'm pretty sure sex.
I think it's I think all of these things. I think all of these things are several weeks in.
No, because I know at the beginning you have. It's called the something ridge where your sex organs.
You know what you need to do, Jason? Bring up.
And according to scientific consensus,
but he's typing in life. See how it quoted him? Because he's typing that in as the prompt. That's why you got to be careful with AI, because AI has a propensity to do one of two things: feed you bullshit or feed you confirmation bias.
That's true.
Or confirmation bias. If you see how it quoted him like that, because that's what he typed in. That's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is his specific thing. When in fetal development is eye color chosen or decided?
That's okay.
And I think it's 3 weeks or 6 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, maybe
because the eyes don't even they can't even open their eyes until it's just like a fucking dog.
Well,
dude.
yeah, but you haven't grown your sex organ yet either. But
you think it's decided by
at conception for sure.
You think so?
Sex is, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong on this.
Yeah,
let's find
everybody
out.
has they call it the something ridge. Fuck, I wish I could remember what it's called.
I love being wrong, and I think people would find that ironic.
It's fine to be wrong.
I love it because it means that I'm finding the actual truth.
Right, exactly.
That's all I ever care.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
Right.
I've
been proven wrong on all sorts of shit
Here's what
the time.
I want you to do. Bring up weekly fecal weekly fetal development chart. And it should give you the full week by week, and then it should show you a picture and tell you what's happening. Because I remember this from sex ed. Shut your phone off, bitch.
Okay. I was going to try.
Okay,
to
while
search
he's
for it
looking
myself.
that in the background, Let's keep going.
Okay, my overarching point is just that I want them to understand that the driving force behind anyone who's pro-life is that we want to save an innocent baby's life. That's
are you like a God-fearing man? Are you a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew?
That's a really hard thing to quantify because I've been all over the place. You know, I was raised Catholic. I went to a Catholic grade school from K through 6th grade, and then I went to a public junior high and high school, but I went to, confirmation classes.
All right, hold on. We'll get back here. Let him finish his point. Jason, get that off the screen. We'll do that in a minute.
So, and then I kind of was like, I totally lost my faith in Christianity. I definitely wasn't Catholic anymore. I referred to myself as a recovering Catholic for a long time. And then
are you the person who...
So I've just kind of waffled back and forth my adult life, but I guess right now I would say at this point I would consider myself agnostic.
Are you the person who put the seed in my head? Because the best pro-life argument I ever heard was from either an atheist or an agnostic, and I can't remember if it was you or Jamal Carlson. I don't remember, and I don't even know that they were pro-life. I think they just made this argument on behalf of these people, but it was an atheist or agnostic argument, meaning it's in the Bible,
that
kind of shit.
And I try to steer clear of that, especially on this topic.
It was literally it's the first words of the Constitution:
right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
It's literally you're guaranteed the right to life.
Exactly, and that's what it's about.
And they said it's like the 8th word in the Constitution.
It's is that baby a human or not? Is it a human baby or not?
When does it become a human?
If the answer is it's a human, then we have to protect that life.
The second
and
best
all of
pro-life?
This, it's part of a woman's body. Shit is nonsense. It is a separate being that is living within their body. It's not part of them.
I'm not going to throw it out this hard.
Cut it out. It's not like cutting off her arm. It's not part of her. It's a separate being. So
the second best argument I ever heard for pro-life was... Oh, fuck, I just lost it. I just fucking lost it. Jesus Christ. Fuck, hopefully it comes back to me in a minute.
I will
I'm not willing to
talk about other shit.
I'm not willing to throw it on as hard as you are on this, as far as win. But my point to this, because I got to steel man this, right? And I don't want to spend too much time on this.
Yeah, we'll move past this pretty quick.
I just want to give respect to the people who are willing to say, hey, this is what it was. The second best argument I ever heard was, again, a very scientific, political, atheistic, logistical Darwinism approach, which is we're headed into a population collapse. We cannot afford your abortion. And we're not talking about money. We need that person. We need more bodies.
Yeah, we need more.
We need more bodies. Yeah. Like every other nation is about to head for an unprecedented.
Yeah, like Japan's in real trouble.
Yeah, Japan, Russia, Korea. I mean, China.
Even China too. Yeah.
Like everybody, including us, Canada. Everybody is headed for a population collapse.
That's why I hear when people talk about China taking shit over. Fuck off.
It's never. We'll get to that too.
They've been saying that shit since I was born.
It's in all.
Even if you look at their GDP, they're shit, dude. They're communists.
And it's a house of cards. It's all built on faulty real estate scams.
They're not going to be the world super. None of us are going to be speaking Chinese.
No, they can't be because they can't spread that fake bureaucracy any farther.
Yeah,
it's already going to implode. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But that was the second argument, was population collapse. So the first argument, and these are atheistic pro-life arguments. These means what I'm saying is these
that's
are
what I try to make
any
argument that I make about it not be religiously, because I'm not even particularly religious.
But that's the counter, though, is why I bring this up, is because, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the proverbial you,
I know
right?
exactly what you're talking about.
So if you argue pro-life, somebody on the left always comes back with, your only argument for this is religious, and I'm not part of your religion. But I'm trying to explain to these guys, no, there's two legitimate atheist arguments I've heard. And so let me, are you the one who planted that in my head, or was it
the right to
else?
life, I would imagine.
It's the first
put
something
in your mind.
word of the, because one of you motherfuckers, it was either you, Jamal, or somebody else like you.
I would it sounds like something I would say.
That sounds like
you. Because that is an argument that I make. And, I just want to get away from you're just trying to control women. Like, you hear that argument all the time, and it's retarded. I'm sorry. If you make that argument, you are a retard, because it's the stupidest thing I've ever fucking heard. Like, there's just a big room full of men, like, passing legislation, and they're like, how can we control women's bodies? Ooh. Like, these are the people that think that we're on the verge of being that TV show with the what's it called? I really like the show, actually, Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, I never watched it.
Oh my God! Every time there's any sort of law against abortion, they put on their hoods and freak out and act like we're gonna turn into Gilead or some bullshit. It is so dumb. But the argument that they make about controlling women's bodies, it's just I don't even know how they can think that that's what it is. And even if you explain to them explicitly, it is about the fact that we think that that's a baby because of science tells us that it is, and they have a right to life, and we should protect that life. And you
personally believe it happens at conception?
Well, yeah, because biology says that life starts at conception for anything else. So,
see, my question when I hear that argument, I always go, yeah, but when is it viable? Because, for example, me and my wife are trying to have a baby, right? And you're not even supposed to tell people you're pregnant until you're 12 weeks.
Yeah, well,
that's how high the risk is of losing that pregnancy. Here's my point. Do you realize, and I'm not patronizing you, I'm talking to the crowd, really.
Right.
Or the listeners. Do you realize 12 weeks is 3 fucking months? That is a third of the way into your pregnancy.
Yeah, right.
So when...
And let me ask you this. Have you ever known a woman who had a miscarriage around that time?
Yes.
Were they fucking bummed out?
Almost, yes. Almost every woman I know, especially if they're thin, very thin, like, and I don't mean thin like fit. I mean thin as in like...
a little too thin. Like maybe eat a couple more sandwiches.
What I mean is in they're thin...
Maybe my fat ass should have shared some meals with them, sort of thing.
What I mean by thin is not only do they not have a lot of body fat, but they also don't have a lot of muscle mass.
Oh, okay.
So yes... They probably should have eaten some sandwiches and lifted some weights and done some more cardio. Right. It's a lot. It's more than just one thing. But it's a lot of women. It's a lot of the hot chicks. Almost all of them lose their first pregnancy, and it's almost always somewhere between week 8 and 11. So I know this through study, and I'm not going to bog the podcast down by doing this, because this is also, obviously. You could also find 1,000 articles that would argue this. But my point is this is my belief, because I've done enough research. So the doctors will even advise you, don't tell people you're pregnant until past 12 weeks.
Because you don't want to have to explain to them about how you had a miscarriage.
Well, true. But
because it's painful enough.
But me being very analytical, being very unemotional, because I'm a man, and this is how we think about things, right? What that told me was the chances of viability are still very low. Especially if it's your first pregnancy. So for me, when I hear life begins at any date, I don't care what date it is. I don't care if it's 24 weeks. I don't care if it's 6 weeks, like Texas said. Once you put a time on it, now we start debating, okay, so in Texas, it's 6 weeks. Some women don't even know they're pregnant by then, right? You're not even supposed to tell people you're pregnant until double that. And is the fetus viable at 6 weeks? We don't know that, because if it was prematurely born, it's not going to survive. Even under the best conditions, at 6 weeks, it's not going to survive.
That's true, but you could say the same thing for a 5-month-old fetus 40 years ago.
Well,
which we can now.
Fair enough, right?
Deliver that baby.
But this is my point. This is my point. You guys are willing to go, okay, yeah, but. And it's a civil. When you do it, you don't even get pissed off about it. You go, yeah, cool, okay.
That's the other thing.
But then let's throw this out there.
People seem to get real fucking pissed off.
And this is what I'm getting at, right?
Even if you're just trying to explain, it's like, I just want to explain my position.
Thank you.
I'm not telling you to do anything.
Right.
Like, I'm not calling you a baby killer to your face or any shit like that.
Well, here's the point. I just threw something at you because I'm steel manning the other side, right?
Right.
Let me just make this point. I threw something at you, and you go, yeah, that's true. But what about this? Super civil.
Yep.
If you do that to the other side, the side I'm steel manning, they don't do what I do.
Oh yeah.
What they do is when they can't go, okay, first of all, they can't ever go, well, yeah, okay, that's true. They can't do that part. Then they can't do the second part is go, but, and then there is no third part. What they do is they go, you're a bigot. You want to control women. You hate everything that is liberal. Yep. And it's like, no, that's not even the conversation we were having.
No, I'm not going to listen to you anymore.
Or they'll scream at you.
Or you're such a piece of shit that your opinion doesn't even matter, so I don't even have to address it at all because you're trash.
Let me give you some ammo, right? By the way. Let me give you some ammo. So we're not going to look this up again because we've already done it on the podcast. Jamal Carlson queued me up to this tip. I said, I don't feel like I should have an opinion because I'm not a woman. Let the women figure this out.
I hate that one.
And he goes, here's why it's not a woman's issue. And I went, really? Okay, I'm listening. And he goes, half of women don't agree with other women.
Exactly.
I said, really? We pulled up a very credible poll.
Pretty much 50% of women.
46% of women are pro-choice.
Yep.
And it's almost perfectly opposite for men. 56% of men are pro-choice. So it is more men being pro-choice and less women being more men being pro-life. But it's almost, when you put the averages all together, it's almost perfectly 50-50.
Yeah.
So it's not a man versus woman issue
there's
either.
Tons of pro-life women.
Half of women don't agree with the whole idea. Like so let's go back to where you started this, is women's rights, sticking up for women, blah, 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 right? Well, half of women don't agree with women.
Yeah, and that's what I tell them.
So it's not man versus women. It's
not only is it a room full of men that are trying to control women, half of you women are in the room too, trying to control women's bodies. Which this argument doesn't make sense.
And I'll give my final
really dumb.
I'll give my final steel man for the left.
Real quick though, what you said about not being able to have any of those sorts of conversations with people on the left. There are some.
Well, let me
give
this,
some, but I will tell you that any times that this has been broached, like on Facebook or something, if I leave any comment, and I'm not like mean or anything, I'm not calling anybody a baby killer. I'm just saying, look, because they'll do the whole song and dance of it's just men trying to control women's bodies, and I'll say, look, I'm not trying to make an argument for or against abortion here. I'm not trying to argue with you on that because it's not something we're going to hash out on fucking Facebook.
Right.
But I'm just trying to tell you, I'm trying to give you an honest view of what the other side is thinking and what motivates them. And I can tell you that it's not controlling women's bodies. It's about protecting human life.
Well,
that's it. And they some of them will be like, okay, I understand that, but a lot of them, like,
let me pause you.
They will not accept that.
On this point, though, I got to pause you because they do have a credible argument, which is, okay, so somebody out there at some point in time, if we allow the right to have this much control over abortion, because again, I am pro-choice, genuinely. I am steel manning the left right now, but I am genuinely pro-choice.
Gotcha, yeah.
But the problem I have, and this is Jamal, this is why I love Jamal, because he's one of the only people in my life, there's like 3 of these people who are so fucking smart that they will legitimately make an argument that I have never even comprehended before. And he said, when you put a timetable on it like this, here's the issue, is you're immediately empowering the government to literally inspect women's vaginas. We heard there's a kid in there. You never had a kid. Where'd that kid go? So where does it end? At what point in time? Because reason
don't they do that already now? Though?
The only reason
if you deliver a baby into a garbage can, the government usually figures it out.
But that's only because
they know you're pregnant.
But that's only because a baby just randomly showed up, right? So the argument that Jamal was making, and where he again convinced me to change my mind on this, was actually it was a combination of Jamal and my homie Kevin, who reminded me the only reason Roe v. Wade ever got passed was because it's a privacy issue. What happens between a woman and her doctor is none of the government's issue.
Yeah.
That is a privacy issue.
It was a pretty faulty ruling. Like even
Ruth
Bader Ginsburg was like, this is kind of bullshit.
But I'm with it though, bro, because at the end of the day, I agree with that. Like, if I decide that me and my doctor have come to a medical conclusion that this is what's best for my life, regardless of anybody else's opinions, whether I'm morally right or wrong, any of that shit, it's none of the government's opinion. So I do agree with them on that. But I also agree with the Republicans. I do agree with the Republicans that at some point in time, it's no longer something in your body. Right?
Right.
At some point in time, it's a person that you killed.
It's not a parasite.
If you do meth while you're pregnant, we all agree.
That's what's funny about our laws.
You're intentionally harming and killing that kid.
Our laws don't make sense.
Right.
If it's like it all depends on whether or not the mother wants to have the child or not. That's what it comes down to. If you want to have the baby, oh, it's a baby. Oh, you got a baby bump. Ooh, it's a baby. If you don't want the baby, it's a clump of cells. That seems to be kind of what it is. And like if you're 3-4 months pregnant and someone murders you, they call that a double homicide because they count the baby.
Though. It's true.
But that same mother could go and dispatch that baby later that afternoon if that murder didn't happen. And now it's not a murder. It's just an abortion.
God damn it, dude! I've never thought about it that way. You're right. So if a woman is
even our laws don't even make fucking sense with each other.
So if a woman is 13 weeks pregnant, this is true. You're right. Let's say you're in a state that says you can have abortion up to 16 weeks. If you got shot and you're 13 weeks pregnant, they would call it a double homicide.
Yep.
However, if you got an abortion and the next day you were murdered, it would be a single homicide.
Exactly. Yep.
Even though it's only 1 day later.
Yeah.
Well, see, this is
the other thing too is if you, let's say you go to 5 months and you're in one of those states that allows the more late term abortions, right? If you had an abortion one day, 5 months, okay, it's not a baby now, apparently. You can just kill it. But if for some weird reason, like something happened that forced that baby to be born, and you birthed the baby in the hospital and they kept the baby alive in an incubator or whatever, can you kill that baby now later? Like the next day, could you go, I was going to get an abortion, so we should just get rid of, throw that baby down the garbage. No one would ever agree with that. No one would ever agree with that. So now you're telling me, you're telling me that the big thing, the big important thing about whether or not that's a human being and a baby is location.
Right, whether it's in the womb,
whether it's in the womb or out of the womb.
But again,
right here in the womb, a foot away from here.
Stay on the mic.
Sorry, a foot away from here. Out of the womb, that's a baby.
And
but
to add to this,
inside, not a baby.
And to add to this, if you're pregnant and you get in a car accident or you get shot or you get whatever, you come to the hospital, if that baby is still alive because it has its own heartbeat, we will cut that baby out of your stomach and let that baby live. We will save that fucking baby because that's a person at that point.
Yeah.
And why we know this, so this might be one of the pivot points that people need to start actually defining, the Democrats and the Republicans, is, again, viability. It's not just if that baby could survive outside of the womb, it's if you die, how long will that baby survive in the womb? Right? So if it's a 3-week-old fetus still in development, it might die within seconds, within minutes.
Pretty quick.
But if it's fucking 4 months old, 5 months old, right? It might have a couple hours, right?
Right.
Like it's possible. We don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And we could Google this.
I'm not sure of like how it breathes.
We could spend an entire podcast Googling that single thing.
Right.
But you have a huge point here because this has happened, where 7 months in, that baby fucking boom.
Yeah.
But you're right because this, and I've made that same argument in reverse, where nobody would argue that if you birth a baby naturally at 9 months, whatever, into the 10th month is how it actually works. Can we kill it the next day? Well, no, of course not. Well, what about the day before? Well, no, of course not. Okay, well, what about a month before? Well, no, of course not. Right? So how far back can we go where we get into the gray area? That's where we need to start trying to discuss some things and set some boundaries. Because
exactly, but it's like either side, it's like a non-starter. You know what I mean? Because
it's not a non-starter because the Republicans are doing
really. Yeah, well, exactly.
The Republicans are coming to the table with the numbers, and the Democrats aren't willing to meet them anywhere.
Right.
And so the Republicans are just getting to decide everything. Oh, I just bumped the cam. Jason, will you go preview and fix his cam? I just fucked it up.
And the funny thing.
Sorry, I'm doing that thing again where I get all fired up, dude.
Yeah, you're good.
Wow, I got lucky and put it back.
That's what she said.
Shit, what was I going to say?
I'm getting fired up. I'm cutting you off. Dude.
It happens, man, especially on this topic.
Be better
one thing that I thought was really funny is Bill Burr actually had a joke about this, about a cake.
Sure.
And you put the cake in the oven, and he says something about if someone came in and took it out of the oven and threw it across the room, you'd be like, "What the fuck did you do to my cake?" And they'd, "Well, that's not a cake. That was just some batter or whatever."
But it would have been if
it was going to be a fucking cake if you left it alone.
There's a guy who has a better bit, actually, because it's an evolution of that bit. So see if you can pull this up, because I don't want to fuck his bit up, because he delivers it so perfectly that I will fuck this up. Jason, see if you can find comedian does abortion clinic bit, and it should pop up on YouTube Shorts. And if you just pull the thing up for me, I'll recognize his face and show you. But basically, it's the same argument. I don't want to set it up too much. I might give it away.
Right? Yeah, it'd be better just to see it if he finds it. But yeah, then we'll move on from this topic.
It's kind of like what we're talking about. Scroll down. Keep going. Go to Shorts.
I love Anthony.
Go to Shorts. No, not that. Not Jesus Christ, not that. Okay.
Jesus Christ, not that.
Keep going. That one. It's the second one. Yep.
A couple of months ago, woman, she burned down the only abortion clinic in Wyoming. It was 2 weeks away from opening, burns it to the ground. So she's being charged with a bunch of federal hate crimes because it was an abortion clinic. But her conservative lawyers are arguing that no, she burned down a construction site. It wasn't an abortion clinic yet. But then the liberal lawyers are arguing that no, it was an abortion clinic. It became an abortion clinic the second they started building it. Which means you've got conservatives arguing that a thing isn't a thing until it's totally done. And liberals arguing that clinics begin at construction. And I feel like I'm losing my fucking mind.
Thank you, Jason. That's
pretty funny.
That is the perfect version of what we're talking about right now. Because basically what I'm getting at is that I don't think there's a bottom of this rabbit hole with this.
Yeah,
that's
the thing. I think it just goes back and forth forever. So that's why I like to talk about it for a little bit.
Because the left isn't willing to come to the table and define it. That's the point I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, but the right is pretty rigid on this one too, man. Like, the guys like me that are like, it starts at conception.
Fine, but you're willing to put a timetable on it. Now we can negotiate.
Right.
Because nobody wins in a negotiation.
Well, what cracks me up about a lot of liberals talk about how great it is over in Europe and stuff because they're more liberal.
They're out of their fucking minds. But, they don't know.
When they say that, and they've when they're referencing abortion, it always cracks me up because like most of the laws over there are like you take the most strict law over here, that's like standard over there.
Yep.
In Ireland, I think is it 12 weeks there? Or
yeah, the point is
maybe
they define
16
it.
weeks.
None of them have
and it's all
abortion.
like it's all less than you would think, amount of time than you would think.
Yep.
Then it definitely less than your typical like leftist would accept here, like big time.
That's correct.
But they pine to be like the Europeans. It just makes you fucking
So
crack
here's
up.
a great example of why they're full of shit on the left and why neither one of us are willing to fuck with them right now. And I think we would say right now, right? I say ever again, but I also say until they and I literally tell them, you got to get off this point, and this point, and then I'll fuck with you again. But as long as you hold these 2 or 3 points as part of your DNC fucking, I'm never voting for you. And it doesn't matter anything else that happens. Like, I'm never voting for you on these 3 things. But what's interesting to me is that...
What are the 3 things?
Well, I'll kind of get into one of them right now.
Okay.
So one of them is they claim to be sticking up for women's rights, but they almost unanimously vote to allow biological men to compete in women's sports.
Yep.
Which is a direct contradiction to that stance.
Totally with you on this one.
And again, this matters to me not because I'm a guy trying to police women's lives. It's because I might have a daughter. I'm trying to have a kid right now.
Right.
I might have a daughter, and I don't want my fucking 12-year-old daughter. Well, at 12 wouldn't be the greatest example because women are still stronger than men at 12.
Yeah.
But my 16-year-old daughter getting the shit kicked out of her by a 17-year-old boy claiming to be a girl.
Yep.
It happens. And it happens a lot, actually. Like, it's not even just like a paranoid delusion. I'm not transphobic by any means about this.
About the arguments for it. One of them always comes down to, well, it's barely even happening. Well, at first they say it's not happening, right? And this seems to be like an evolution of the leftist argument for anything. If it's something that normal people are like, what the fuck? You'll point it out and they'll go, what? That's not happening. That's not happening. And then you go, well, it is. And then you show them like evidence. It is happening. And then they say, oh, yeah, well, that is happening. Kinda, I guess, but not very much. It's not really happening very much, so it's not even a big deal. Why are you even making a thing out of it?
That's like saying rape
and they're the one
doesn't
making the
happen
thing
very
out of it,
often.
right? They're the one that said you need to do this, and then you say no, that's stupid. Why are you making such a big thing about this? Why are you bringing it up? You brought it up. You're the one that wants to do the weird thing that goes against normal stuff, and because I push back on it, I'm obsessed with it now.
Right.
No, I'm saying we don't need this. Stop it.
Right.
And then the third thing that they do.
And then they call you a bigot.
And
because
then they
you're
finally
intolerant.
admit, yes, it is happening, and it's good.
That's the
like
final stage.
That's the evolution of a
That is
leftist
the final
argument.
stage.
It's not happening. It is happening, but not very much. Yeah, you're right. It is happening, and it's good, and you're bad if you're against it.
Yep.
But
they call you a bigot before they admit it's good.
Yeah, definitely bigot.
They call you a bigot way before that.
Oh, you're a bigot to begin with. Even, like, really, you don't want men beating up on girls? You don't want women to get brain trauma from a volleyball being spiked in their face by a huge man? You don't want that? Wow, you're a bigot.
We don't allow.
You're a big bigot. It's like
we wouldn't.
And you
allow,
hate women too. Like, what the fuck?
Let me put it this way: we wouldn't allow you and me can compete in the same sport. Let's say I know you're a baseball guy, but let's just use football because you're being your size and me being my size. That's the only sport we're both on the field at the same exact time, competing against each other at the exact same
funny,
time.
Like not with my bone disease because I'll just get shattered.
But let's just say
let's say I was like a normal dude.
You'd be like a crazy defensive lineman.
Yeah,
you're a
because
big
I'm huge.
guy,
Yeah.
Right? And I would be my size. I'm 6 feet, 180 pounds. So I'm a thin wide receiver.
Maybe. Okay, yeah.
No, not a running back.
Yeah,
Jesus
not a running
Christ.
back.
Running backs are like at most 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Usually they're 5'10", 5'11", 220. Now they got thick thighs. No, I'm a defensive back. I'm a safety. I'm a corner. I'm a wide receiver at best. I'm a small guy. Now, granted, if I'm in the NFL, I'm probably closer to 200. I got thicker thighs. I got a bigger butt. You know, my midsection's a lot. Everything's thicker, right?
Right.
I got 30 pounds of muscles on me, probably. Point being is that's the only sport where you and I would be on the same field at the exact same time competing directly against each other, okay?
Yeah.
My point is if one of us, including me, was found to be taking extra testosterone, you're bigger than me. You will fuck me up. If I get in a wrestling match with you, you're gonna win. I don't care how winded you get. I don't care how lack of stamina you have. If I get in a direct wrestling match with you, or football, tackling, right? You're winning that battle 10 out of 10 times. 100 out of 100 times. You're always winning
we're
that.
both competent, at it.
But if I'm taking too much testosterone, guess what? I'm suspended. I'm not allowed to compete against you because it gives me an unfair advantage.
Yep.
Boys have more testosterone in them, and it may not matter before 12, because before puberty, right? Because we know girls are stronger, bigger, faster.
Right.
Like I lost a lot of races to a lot of girls before I hit 14 years old.
Yep.
I wasn't a late bloomer, but some of them bitches were fast. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
Like we had mixed track for a reason, because fucking Shannon was fast as fuck. She had some long ass legs, dude. Her legs came out to my fucking to my pecs.
Yeah.
But by 17, by even 15 or 16, a shorter, thinner guy is still going to be dramatically stronger than your average 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old girl. It's not even close.
Not even close. They have...
And it's an unfair advantage because of testosterone.
Men have higher lung capacity.
Bone density. Muscle density.
Just...
high twitch and low twitch muscle fibers.
Yep, and even like
spatial recognition,
spatial recognition, all that stuff. And it's not to say that men are better or anything like that. It's just a biological. These are biological.
Men
facts.
are physically superior to women.
Yeah, they're
so
stronger.
If we want to call that better,
yeah, exactly.
Then fine.
Yeah, it's
men
not
are
better. It's just different.
But
I'm
going to do.
And
this.
that's the big thing about it. Like
men are
different
better at sports than women.
They are, and
except for finesse and accuracy, like archery, where you just have to be
something
accurate.
Like that could be.
But distance,
pretty even match.
As soon as we add distance in, there's a reason that we have women's tees and men's tees.
Yep.
Right. But if both of us start from the same spot and we're just trying to hit a spot, sometimes women can be just as accurate.
Oh yeah.
However, men typically are better at spatial recognition, and it goes back to hunter-gatherer shit.
Yep.
It really does.
It's biology. And it's about protecting women in that situation. And
we pass a law
the fact
on
that
this.
there's Title IX.
That's it. That's what.
Yeah, you got Title IX. Like this shouldn't even be a question. And I don't really understand the argument for transgender. Like they can. The argument is, well, they should be able to compete just like anyone else. They can
go compete.
They can
with
go
the
compete with
yep.
the same people with their same bits.
Yep.
And if that makes them sad, tough shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. We're not going to just let people compete against women for their feelings, okay? Like, men demolish women in these sports.
Mm-hmm.
And if you let them compete, they're literally, these girls, they compete. They put a lot of their life into this to be competitive in some of these sports, and you're just going to take away scholarships from them that they would have been able to take advantage of.
And it's women's rights, dude. It's a women's right to. Here's the thing: women have the right to compete against just women in their own safe spaces.
Exactly.
So again, it comes back down to that idea of like,
and I don't worry about the bathroom shit that much. Like, unless it's a changing room, like a locker room or something, then I'm like, fuck that. But it's like just the using the bathroom. I mean, I think it's stupid, but like, it's not something it's not a hill I'm dying on or anything. Like, I'm not into the like, oh, it's unsafe and they're just going to go in there and rape the women. Like, if a dude wants to do that in the bathroom, he's going to go in there and do it anyways. Like, he doesn't need to put a dress on first. But, like, so that argument, like,
the difference,
I mean, I get it, but I also don't think
is,
it's like as
the difference is the moment a dude walks in that bathroom, everybody's going to be like, hey, you're not allowed in here. But if he has a dress on and claims to be a woman, now we have to let him in here.
Yeah.
And there's the same exact probability, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's the same exact probability that man could expose himself. I mean, no one's arguing that they're gonna rape women.
Right.
What they're saying is we're increasing the potential for grown men to expose themselves or do disgusting things in front of women or little girls. That's where the concern comes in.
I can see that, I suppose.
And that's the difference.
But it's like I'm less concerned with the bathroom
that.
thing than I am the changing rooms and the sports. Like that's where I definitely draw the fucking line. Like we can't have
it gets weird both ways.
16-year-old girls or college girls either like competing against men. Like it's not fair.
How do you feel about
it's not like I'm watching
we got a
women's
question
sports.
in chat. We got a question in chat. How do you feel about reclassifying altogether based on testosterone levels, bone density? I think about the Olympics boxing example.
No.
So
men, women.
I'm going to let you riff on this. I got to piss.
Okay.
Riff on this for a minute.
Men compete
I
against...
have an opinion on this.
To me, Amanda, men compete against men and women compete against women.
Shout out to Amanda, by the way.
Yeah, I love Amanda. I miss you, Amanda. You're the breast. But yeah, so I don't. So what we're gonna like make everyone go through like all these crazy tests to find out what their bone density is and what their lung capacity is, and then match them up with each other by these different levels. Like it's gonna become like a weird trigonometry fucking thing.
Here's a thought for you.
Like it's gonna get crazy. It's too hard. You just can't do that. They're already like, what are you gonna examine the women dressed up as men to look at their genitalia to see if they're actually a woman? It's like, no, all I have to do is like look at them and see that they have a huge Adam's apple and that they're a man. Like it's really not hard.
So here's a thought for you. Considering that the trans community proclaims themselves as trans, they don't typically claim that they're a man or a woman. Why wouldn't we just start a trans classification for sports and allow them to compete in sports in a trans category?
Yeah, I mean they could do that, I guess, but then when you do that, you're still going to separate them by men and women. You know what I mean? Like,
well, okay, if you call it the trans, so if you're transitioning, so you have whatever going on, because you never hear about women coming into men's sports, trans women coming into men's sports. You only hear about the inverse and the weirdos who have the kinks.
Why that is.
Yeah, obviously, and it's a degeneracy issue, obviously.
I think Amanda also nailed it. She said at the very end here, she said trans classification creates the same problem of trying to have equity.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to put people above other people and give them an advantage because you're trying to compensate for their disadvantage.
Yeah, well, and you don't want to hurt their... It's about not hurting people's feelings, and, it sucks. And,
I have so much respect for Amanda.
I have sympathy for...
I have so much respect for Amanda.
Empathy for people that are going through that.
I don't agree with her on everything, but man...
It must be terrible.
If more women acted and thought and behaved like Amanda, we'd have a much better inter-sex relationship.
If that guy...
She's the shit.
Was
She's
really
like my wife,
a woman, the boxer that they said, was a man or whatever, then that's obviously stupid, but... I have seen some just conflicting things about that, so I don't know if that person is a man or a woman. But
are you talking about the boxer? No, that's a dude. It's a dude. It has been concluded. It's
okay, but they've said that it was a woman. I don't know.
No, it's a dude.
That's what I thought. I mean, I look at him in my mind. I'm like, that's a dude.
It has been concluded. It's a dude.
And if it's not a dude, it's the most manly looking broad that I've ever seen.
No, it's a guy. It's a guy.
But yeah, I mean, super high levels of...
No, it's been confirmed. And I don't want to try to Google this because the only way this was confirmed was by people that I consider authorities in the spectrum.
That's what I thought too, Amanda.
And they went on podcasts and they broke down the science from their tests, but these tests are not public. So we can't Google this. So, and I'm not going to waste... fucking 45 minutes of watching another podcast and trying to get to
right.
Because he broke it down and showed graphs, and he showed graphs. And
so
he
it
goes,
could be a simple,
a dude.
This person just lied.
It is. No.
About being born a woman.
And it was a government having an incentive, and this is This is
This
is why you and I are the way we are. It was a government juicing the system to try to win an Olympic medal.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's true, so I can't say either way.
I will put my reputation on the line. I'm telling you, I've heard this from somebody I consider to be an authority.
What have been at our shows?
What's that?
She said something, they've been at your shows. I don't know what she was talking about. What do you mean, Amanda, that they've been at our shows?
A trans person, not the specific boxer. There's no way that boxer was at our
no
shows.
way.
That boxer
I
was
know
from a
some
different
trans
country.
people, and they're lovely people. I know a drummer who's an amazing
And we
drummer.
know, and here's the other thing is like I know hermaphrodites and intersex people are born certain ways at birth, and I genuinely sympathize, and I mean sympathize.
Most of them are kind of one or the other, though. Really,
I mean sympathize. I sympathize with truly trans people.
Yeah, me too.
And I know
it
a few
must
of
be
them.
terrible to think that you're in this other body, trapped in this
And
body.
I know
that's
for a
not
fact
yours,
some of them exist.
Yeah, well, for sure. There's people that have that affliction.
So this is not I'm not going anti-trans. I just want to be
Me
very
neither.
clear.
Yeah,
with this.
I'm not
Like,
anti-trans.
I have
at
trans
all.
friends. Jen
I'm just
Dean,
pro women.
even though Tempest,
and I don't even. Do you think I care about women's sports? You think I'm watching them? I'm not watching women's sports.
no one watches women's
give
sports.
a fuck about
Women
women's
don't
sports.
watch women's
Exactly.
sports.
They
bro.
talk about watching it, but they don't watch it.
Yeah.
So it's not about that. It's just about I just there's a fairness, and these women work hard to compete in their different sports, and they want to get. They're doing it for. Some of them are doing it to get a scholarship, or there's opportunities that they get for this
You gonna light that cigar?
that they're not going to get if there's a man competing against them. You know what I mean?
Well, it's just unfair, dude.
How's this one right
It's
there?
just unfair. Now, do you know how to smoke cigars?
Not very well versed at
All
smoking
right. Did I
cigars,
punch that?
so-
I think I punched.
Yeah,
that
you
for
punched
right?
it for me. Yeah.
All right. So all I got to do is look at this. Just make sure I understand which way it goes. Okay. So when it's in your mouth, you want to twist it this way. Okay.
Okay.
Do not spin it this way. You'll unravel it.
Okay.
This is one of the number one reasons that
So
people
spin it
fuck
to
up a
the
cigar.
right.
Yeah. Well, and it's because that's the way this cigar is rolled. There's a
Okay.
right hand and a left hand roll.
Gotcha.
And it's literally if that guy was left-handed or right-handed, right?
Okay.
So when you light it, and then as you're don't puff, don't inhale, just light little airflow because you don't want to suck. If you suck, you're going to pull that heat into the cigar and you're going to burn down here.
Yeah,
And you
don't
create
want
a
that.
tornado inside the cigar. You don't want to do that. So twist it and then just make that literally. I know. I'm doing that on purpose, and then I'll tell because I can see it from this end. I'll tell you when it's lit.
Okay.
Yeah, and then just breathe through your nose while you're doing the whole thing. You could start it, yeah, and then spin it. Keep going, like this, like a.
Okay.
Yeah, while you're lighting it. Yep, couple more. Keep turning. You're almost there. A little bit more. Exhale and breathe through your nose, dude. Yeah, you're pretty much there. Now give it a final don't puff, just give it a final tickle with the lighter. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're good. Yep, you're good. You're good. Now 1 puff to 3 puffs per minute and you'll keep that baby rolling.
Okay.
Cigar looks good on you, bro.
It's been a long time since I've smoked anything. I quit cigarettes after I had that accident and broke my leg.
Good.
Did I tell you about all that shit or not?
No, do you wanna?
Yeah.
What happened?
So, well, we've talked about my bone disease before, I think, in the past. But so I was born with a bone disease called osteogenesis imperfecta, and some people call it brittle bone disease. And so people that have seen Unbreakable might be familiar with it.
Sure,
because the villain in that, Mr. Glass, that's the disease that he has. And they portray it pretty well, but there's a lot of I guess, like, there's a big range of the severity of the disease, right? So there's kids that are born and they're breaking bones like coming out of the womb. You're breaking bones trying to change their diapers. They're like super fragile.
That's the extreme side.
That's the extreme, right? My brother and I, my little brother has it too. We have a more mild case.
What's your brother's name?
Al.
I know Al.
Yeah, you know Alan.
Didn't he do Root of All Evil for a while, right?
No, definitely not. No.
I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah.
I think they look alike.
Yeah, a lot of people, for some reason, it's weird. People meet us and they either know right away that we're brothers, or there's people that knew us for years that had no idea we were brothers until, like,
I know Al. I know who you're talking about, and I mistook him for somebody else in my head because he looks like one of the dudes that used to work for Root of All Evil Radio.
Okay. The littler guy.
I know exactly who you're talking. Yeah. The dude who used to sit on the side.
Yeah, I think I know who. Yeah, I can see that, I guess.
Yeah. They're not like a
if you didn't see
doppelganger
him,
of each
like,
other.
Yeah, like, but if you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you for bailing me out on that, bro. Yeah, because I'm not stretching. I'm not making this shit up.
No, I know who you're talking about.
Sometimes I do make shit
up. Now that
I
think about it. But yeah, so we have
a
mild case of it
as well.
So I actually did break my collarbone when I was born, but that was more just because I had really broad shoulders. And so yeah, I broke my collarbone coming out. So yeah, the first thing I did when I was born was break a fucking bone.
Fuck, dude.
And between me and my brother, by the time I was about 13 or so, we had collectively broken 100 bones. And like toes and fingers and shit don't count because those just happen all the time. I'm talking legs.
I mean, they definitely
arms,
don't for normal people.
Hands, yeah, feet, ankles, bigger bones.
Right.
And so
that's crazy because you're such a big guy. Your bones got to be pretty fucking strong to support the weight.
Yeah, I know it's
and I
probably
don't mean that
a problem.
Shittily.
No, it's probably
I mean
a
that
problem.
complimentary.
No, but it probably is.
So
a problem.
I find
like
this. I find this to be a conundrum, though.
Yeah,
because just to legitimately support your weight, your bones have to be pretty strong.
Yeah, well, and that's probably why I broke my leg, is because I'm so heavy. But yeah, so between the two of us, 100 bones we had broken. So one of us was always in a cast, one or both of us growing up, pretty much. But we were pretty positive about it because we didn't know any better. We were kids, and it wasn't until I was really a little older that I understood the kind of adversity that we were going through compared to normal people. And my parents still let us play sports, which I don't know if that was the best idea, but so we played softball, I played basketball, we rode bikes, but we would just fall off that shit sometimes and break a bone.
Right.
And it was kind of like our most people have a general practitioner, doctor, or whatever. We had a regular orthopedic surgeon.
Okay.
First name basis.
Right.
We were pretty good at reading x-rays by the time we were 12, 13.
Sure. Yeah.
There was a couple times when my dad's insurance changed where we were going to this place that was like a lot of not interns, but people that were like really early on in their medical career. I forget what they call it. When they, I don't know, they work at a clinic, but they're not like a full-on doctor yet.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, there were times where, like, I remember one time in 8th grade, I had a fracture in my heel, and I told them, I'm like, there's definitely some sort of fracture, like maybe a hairline fracture or something, and they did the x-ray, and they said, nope, there's no fracture there. And I go, it's right there, the fracture. They said, no, that's your growth plate. I said, no, the growth plate's over here. That's a fracture. I guarantee it. Get a second opinion. They got a radiologist to look at it. I was correct. And the radiologist made fun of the doctor. It was pretty funny.
Jason, what did you pull up here?
Doctors, the research.
Residency.
Residency. That's
dude,
what
I was
was the word I was trying to.
I gave up.
Yeah.
Dude, while you were talking, I knew what you were saying, I could not think of the word residence, but I was trying. I'm going through every like cheesy Grey's Anatomy, ER. I know what stage he's talking about. My wife watches these shows in the background, bro. I know what it's called.
I couldn't think of the
I know what
term.
it's fucking called. And honestly,
I do that so much in my life.
I gave up as you were talking because I was like, if I keep thinking about this, I'm not going to pay attention to what he's saying. So I just let it go.
Yeah.
This is why I hired a producer. Jason earned his paycheck just now.
That shit.
Yeah, because
nice.
Residency is the word he was looking for, and the one I couldn't think of. Dude.
I knew what it was.
Intern was at least applicable.
They are doctors, but they're not officially like running their own practice. It's called residency.
So the radiologist kind of embarrassed that guy. He's like, "You just got schooled by an 8th grader, dude. That's pathetic." Like. We all had a good laugh. Oh, he was teasing him.
Here's the same way it's
he was
pathetic.
poking him. You know?
Yeah, well, that poke is real, but here's why it's real. It's the same equivalency of me, 40 years old, never coaching a game in my life of NFL football. However, I am better at time management than most NFL coaches, and here's why. Madden football. It's the same thing with you reading x-rays.
Yeah, man.
By 15 years old, by 18 years old, by 24 years old, the amount of 2-minute drills I had run in my life and learning how to look at the clock, understand how many downs and yardage I have to go, the reps I have in, it's the same thing with you with the x-rays. By 8 years old, the reps you have in, it's irrational compared to what somebody does in medical school. They think they look at a lot. You don't look at nothing in medical school.
Yeah,
you're looking at most.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm seeing this shit every couple months, man.
Right,
for
right.
Like my whole
the
upbringing.
whole life,
and not just mine. You know, every time I'd always go with
your
Al
brother.
Went to the doctor
Exactly.
too, so I'd see his shit.
Yep.
So
I'm not claiming.
And we would ask. We were inquisitive.
I'm not saying I could be a better NFL coach than NFL
like
coaches.
Belichick or
However, if you hired me right now to play in the fucking upstairs box and watch the whole field, watch the clock, you could pay me $80,000 a year to manage the clock, and I am more qualified than any actual NFL player or actual NFL coach simply based on reps in Madden football. You need to take a timeout at 1:43 seconds. You need to take a timeout at this exact time.
Yeah.
Because I've run through these scenarios through a simulation called Madden Football so many times that I've literally seen it all.
Complex simulation that's like very real life.
It's actually shockingly real. Madden Football,
especially now, I'm sure.
Madden Football has gotten so good that it legitimately affects actual modern day NFL football.
That's wild.
Like the GMs nowadays, the way they evaluate guys, the way they do things is because they played Madden Football, and they'll talk about it. They'll admit it out loud.
That's hilarious.
In fact, recently,
like they'll
Jason,
run plays that they like invented
Jason,
on Madden or something, or
New York Jets head coach, offensive lineman, Madden Football. Check this out. They were going to trade for this O-lineman. The owner came down and denied the trade because his son looked up his ratings on Madden Football and said he sucks. And so the owner was like, we don't want him.
Oh, my God.
I swear to God, this is real. Look this up, Jason.
Hilarious.
Look this up. Here it is. New York Jets owner Woody Johnson reportedly turns down trade target over video game rating, dude. I swear to God, that's real, dude.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Now, that's a dumb thing to do.
Or maybe the guy's
it's a dumb no. That's a diseased organization run by incompetent morons.
Yeah,
however, it just adds credence to that. I'm not making this up.
God, I feel like I gotta look like a dumbass smoking this.
No, cigar looks good on you, bro. You look great.
I feel like Tony Soprano without all the fucking murdering and shit.
And you're doing a really good job of smoking it because it's not doing the two things that always happen. It's not immediately going out on you, and it's also not like hotboxing and ballooning out.
Well, I had plenty of practice with cigarettes and
I'm sorry, inappropriate
and other man. That was hardcore. I think I'm gonna have to leave. I'm offended.
I just have so much respect for you, though.
Fault.
I have so much respect for you, Jason, as a musician and as somebody who has political opinions, because whether I agree with you or not on a subject, and I do agree with you more than I disagree with you, whether I agree with you or not, though, always becomes an irrelevant topic because you're one of those people who is always well-researched, calculated in your approach, and the reason I have so much respect for your opinions is because you're one of the guys who obviously has the time to do the research. Right? So like me, right? So we brought this up before the podcast. I was talking with Jason. There's a guy locally who I have a great deal of respect for when it comes to sports. His name's Scotty Ball. Sings for a band called Strange Days. And because I know Scotty, and in his spare time, he evaluates football players, specifically offensive linemen. And he has his own rating system that is incredibly reliable. Okay. So when he has downtime, this is what he does for fun. So when Scotty has an opinion on offensive linemen, I listen
to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
When you have a political opinion, I listen. When Jamal has a political opinion, I listen.
Yeah, and whether or not you agree with it, whatever.
Irrelevant.
At least understand. It's about understanding the other sides, where they're coming from. You know what I mean? Clarity over agreement is what is the term that I've always liked.
Now, coincidentally, I agree with you most of the time.
Right. Yeah, we do
Jamal
have that about
changes
us.
my mind more than you do, but that's just because I already agree with you most of the time.
Well, and some people, like, they
But you
say,
do
well,
change
like,
my
what's
mind
the
a lot.
point of getting into these arguments because no one's going to change their mind, and that's nonsense. I've had my mind changed several times, and I there's one specific one
I've changed
that
several
comes
people's
to mind
minds
is,
from this podcast.
Is on capital punishment. I used to.
I think we both let. Oh, you're good. I let mine go out.
I've always gone back and forth on capital punishment. I've been really, really wishy-washy on it.
I'm always anti-capital punishment.
And I've always been, I understand, like, the point of not doing it because, if you murder one innocent man, that sucks. Why not just put him in jail for life?
It's cheaper to put him in jail for life.
Well, with our appeal system, it is.
Correct.
Which, maybe we could change that. But
no, we can't. No,
but
no,
then
see,
there's
so
the other.
Hold on.
But then there's the
Stop.
other argument of like an ultimate.
Hold on. You just floated out an idea and then glossed by it. We can't streamline or simplify the appeal process, and here's why. The reason it takes time. Number one, the founding reason it takes time is because of ethics.
Yeah, right.
The second reason it should always take time is because of technology.
Yeah, there could be.
The third reason is because of political beliefs.
Yeah, and
the
like,
Overton window.
I'm against capital punishment.
Do you know what the Overton window is?
Oh, yeah.
Will you explain it to the listeners, please?
It's like, the way I understand it is, like, this is, like, the Overton window's been pushed so far to the left that when you're really a centrist, it still, like, looks like you're a right-winger,
sure, yeah.
Right?
The quickest way to explain it is the Overton window is the window that society looks through to decide what's right and wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
And it almost never widens. It just moves.
Yep.
Sometimes it narrows. It almost never widens. It usually just moves. So one day this is okay. 10 years later, this is okay.
Yeah. Like,
but it almost never expands
jokes
to
or
what
something
was
that
okay.
would fly in
That's
2005.
That's the point. That's the point.
Know, right?
That's why it never expands, right? I'm not going to say it never expands, but it almost because what happens is jokes that used to be okay are no longer okay. Okay, so that gets shortened,
right?
But then, so now it's narrower. But then at the same time, things that weren't okay are now okay. So the window is still the exact same size. It just moved.
Right.
It seems like it's shrinking and growing, but it doesn't. It just moves.
Yep.
It just depends on the speed of which you observe the shift.
That makes sense. So back to my mind being changed. So I was always wishy-washy on capital punishment. I could kind of go either way. So for some reason, I was kind of leaning towards being for it, And then I think it was on musicscene.org, that old message board that we all would promote our bands on and whatever.
That music
and we'd
scene,
get into the political arguments.
Musicscene.org was the number one best thing that happened for the Minnesota music scene at that time.
It brought me so many of my friendships. That's probably why I know Amanda is from that website, or at least I was hanging out with people that I met on that website, and that's how I met her, through that, Yeah. So it's like, and that's probably how I met you, was through that, or just
we met through the
scene
scene.
too. Yeah,
we met through the scene.
But if we wouldn't have met through the scene, we would have met that way.
100%.
Someone's barbecue or something, because I went there because I was invited, from the message board, So yeah, I met a lot of people that way. But anyway, so one of these guys that I would go at it on politics, he made an argument for it that really changed my mind, and from that day on, I've always been against capital punishment, and it's just the case of.
Well, I can't find a way around it. So here's why I'm anti-capital punishment. Number one, 2 wrongs don't make a right. He killed or raped. Okay, cool. So we're not going to kill or rape, because we just said that thing was wrong, so we're not going to do that. That's why we don't allow people to be raped in prison, which is why I also think it's fucked up when we don't show people sympathy for being raped in prison, right? Like, we have this weird fucked up thing like, oh, you raped 2 women, so we're going to allow you to be raped for the next 25 years. That seems fucked up. Like, if rape is wrong, we shouldn't allow that to happen.
I'll play the other side and make their argument for it, which is one of the major ones that they say is that it acts as a deterrent.
I don't think it does, though.
Well, think of it this way:
rape goes up.
Say you're a rapist.
We've never went down in rape cases.
Say you're a rapist, and you finish raping a chick. The best way for you to really get away with that and not experience any repercussions would be to kill her. And if there isn't an additional, if it's a brutal rape, you're probably going to, you should go to prison for life. I guess our laws don't really work that way. Rape is like, I can't believe how soon guys will get out.
Yeah, I get it.
It's ridiculous. We should have much stronger sentencing against rapists, in my opinion, especially if it's children, like child molestation. And
right.
I don't even know if you want to talk
your point,
about
though,
that.
Because I already have a not a comeback, but because I'm not going to
anyway,
steal man
so
the other side
their
of
point
this.
is, as a deterrence, what's going to deter a guy from going through with murdering that person if the punishment isn't worse?
Right. Yeah.
If they know that if they murder this person, that death for them is on the table, maybe that acts as a deterrent, and so that's not my argument. I'm still against capital punishment, but I get that argument. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't think that someone's crazy for thinking that.
Well, and we need to define rape, right? And that's the point, is the real ones, they should just be locked up forever. Because I agree with her that they can't be rehabilitated. A real rapist cannot be rehabilitated.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
and to me, jail is not about rehabilitation. All this
some jail, some jail is not about.
We should help them rehabilitate, but part of it is punishment.
Oh my God, dude, you just inspired me.
Part of it's been punishment.
New idea, something never been talked about ever in the history of humanity ever. There should be 2 forms of jail. There should be rehab jail, and there should be condemnation jail. Rapists, pedophiles, and murderers, condemnation jail.
Well, I think maybe
petty crimes,
the lower
selling weed, being a dumb young kid, rehabilitation jail.
Yeah, right.
Rehabilitation jail should be like an education. Let's get you back into society. Let's get you a leg up. Let's fix your life.
Yeah, I get that.
But rape, pedophile, murder? No. That's condemnation jail. That's a different jail. And I'm not saying different levels of punishment. I mean, can you get out or not?
Yeah, right.
But to get back to what we were talking about,
and it's punishment.
The reason I'm anti capital punishment is number one, I already said that. Number two is cost. Like, it's literally cheaper to just lock them up for life. And I don't believe in refining that or streamlining that because I already mentioned it. Technology, philosophy, ethics, all of these things change over time. And the final caveat to the second part, the final caveat is it's better to let 10 guilty men go free than to put one innocent man behind bars.
See, that's the one that gets me is like you just, I mean,
I forgot
they get it wrong. They get it wrong all the time.
I have a third point, but I forgot it.
But the other argument that is compelling about it.
The third one was like we get ambiguous about murder and rape, right? So there's statutory rape, which is like a weird thing. It's an age difference.
Yeah.
Right? And it makes sense why we do it, but we also specifically decided this because back in the 50s, post-World War II, I don't care how creepy you think this sounds, this is what they felt back in the day. An 18-year-old is an adult. He can go to war. Okay? They're in the same high school as a 15-year-old freshman. 14, 15-year-old freshman.
Dicey in that age.
Right? So they can start dating right there. But then you're going to tell me the moment this dude turns 19, because that's where it started, by the way. It was 18 to 19. It wasn't 17 to 18. It was 18 to 19. That's where this whole thing started. So the moment that dude turns 18, now he's a rapist because she's a minor. And everyone was like, well, no, of course not. I met my wife when she was a freshman and I was a senior. Like, of course I wasn't a rapist.
Within the amount of years apart that you
That's
are.
what statutory rape is.
Yeah,
it's a window.
Yeah.
It's a window. It's a
yeah,
you know
and I
what
guess
it is?
that
It's an
makes
Overton
sense.
window.
And that's not the type of rapist I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Man.
That's
I'm
my
talking
point.
About the guy that assaults a woman. And,
however, we've started to find this though.
And it's about power.
If that 19-year-old, now you just said it, dude. You just made my case. You just set up my whole case. So if that 19-year-old is in a position of power or influence, which sounds insane when we're thinking about a modern day 19-year-old, but when these laws were enacted, 19-year-olds were grown men.
Mm-hmm.
And if they had a position of influence over a 16-year-old girl, that seems super shady now.
Oh, definitely shady.
And
yeah, so it's like
where this argument gets weird.
Go to school together.
Zimmerman?
They're classmates. That's like a different thing.
I called you Zimmerman instead of Newman. That's weird.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, some people call me by my last name too.
Where this argument gets weird though is when you talk to a legit feminist who's like not a weirdo, and they go, "What you're saying though is that young women at 16, because here's the point: if a girl is 16 and she bangs her 20-year-old teacher, we immediately go, that guy abused his power.
For sure.
But if a 16-year-old boy bangs his 20-year-old teacher, no one cares.
Well, no, she's a piece of shit too.
Now, what my homie explained to me though,
people do care. Like we act like we don't, but I mean,
but no one feels bad for that little boy. 16-year-old boy. Everyone goes, that 16-year-old boy had the best night of his life.
It depends on the situation, but that is the joke. I mean, there's a South Park episode.
Not only is it a joke, it's an actual
where they
mentality,
talk about the teacher having sex with the kid, and all the cops are like, "Nice."
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that South Park.
It's a joke, but it's
good
real. So the feminists, in the legitimate argument from the feminists, is that they go, what you're saying by doing that is you're saying women don't have the same autonomy even at 16. Now, I am not a father.
Or you mean the same agency?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I meant. Agency.
Yeah.
Now, so
here's my
hold on.
Okay.
So what I'm saying,
we're probably on the same page on this, I bet.
I am not a father. I'm not a father yet. Okay. I'm not a father of daughters yet. Okay. But I have younger cousins, and I have a younger brother. I do believe I understand the differences between men and women. And what I am saying with conviction is yes. Yes, I am saying
that. It's different.
The 16-year-old boy who bangs the 20-year-old teacher is a conqueror. That builds his ego. The 16-year-old girl who gets banged by her 20-year-old teacher, you see how I'm framing this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe she's a conqueror. I don't believe she feels like a conqueror. And if she does feel like a conqueror, then she's probably a sociopath.
Yeah, it's different.
It's not different. Or I'm sorry, it is different. Yeah. It's not the same.
Yeah,
and it's not a healthy comparison, because what you're saying is that there's no difference between these two.
For the
I agree.
Female teacher
I absolutely agree.
And there can be conditions of it where it's like
Nailed it.
Can be traumatizing to the boy, depending. But as much with what I know about being a teenage boy, you know, if I could have had that experience, I would have thought it was cool, you know. And
there was 4 teachers I wanted to bang.
Yeah, there
was
quite a few that I had in high school that
there was 4 teachers that if they would have gotten me into a corner and made me bang them,
yeah,
I'd have done it.
Yep.
But I wouldn't have liked it. But I would have been a victim, but I wouldn't have felt victimized.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'd have felt like?
Yeah.
A survivor. I got through it. It wasn't enjoyable.
I think Amanda's like, I'm fucking out of here.
Oh, no, she's doubling down. So let's go back up, because Amanda's been having a whole conversation.
Actually, I
analogistically, or I don't know the word I'm looking for, but she's been having an entire conversation with us.
She's
metaphorically
right.
while we're
I agree with
this.
her about the.
So
teacher.
Let's back up. Let's back
Both
up and
of
go
those
into
are
chat.
older people taking advantage of a
Let's go.
position
Let's back
of power.
up and go into chat. Let's catch up and yeah, scroll up, buddy. Yeah, keep going. Okay. So she brought up this dude's name. No, she up there. She said that
farther.
dude.
Go up even farther.
She said that dude. ... Drew Sojin. Okay, go up a little higher. What are we talking about here? Drew Sojin. Pull it up on screen, because I have no idea what she's talking about right now. Sojin.
I'm looking. That's me.
SJODIN. That's Turkish. Is that Hungarian? I don't care about his first name, but that last name, dude, I can't etymologize that last name, dude.
The Drew Sojin.
SJODIN. The first name was DRU, by the way, is how she spelt it. But that dude, that name, that's like name. Turkish. That's like got to be Turkish, Hungarian.
What did
that's a weird Eastern European into.
What did Drew do?
Yeah, what did Drew do? Those eyes look. That's a chick.
Remember this.
That's a chick. Why are we saying this is a dude? That's a chick.
Oh, that's right.
Dude, I have no idea what's going on.
Alfonso Rodriguez.
Okay, okay, Jason.
Kidnapped her.
I gotta read this and set this up for people. So, Drew Sojin is what I'm gonna say. I don't know if that's correct, but was born blah blah blah. Okay. What the fuck are we even talking about right now? What is the context of what this has happened into?
I think she was talking about who could be rehabilitated and who couldn't.
Yeah. So somebody killed. I think
it's when we were talking about the
Drew Sojin has to be the victim.
Yes, Drew Sojin is a victim.
Okay.
And this Rodriguez guy is the one that killed her.
Okay.
And she's saying that guy can't be rehabilitated.
Rapist, murderer, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like,
I don't need to read into the actual.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Okay. Yep.
And he can't. Some people can't be rehabilitated.
Right now, because of the American.
That's what Accountability Nation said.
Yep. So
and
now
she's agreeing with.
Okay. So now I'm catching up. So to get back into the context of what we're talking about, yes, he can't be Don't send him back into society ever.
Yeah, ever.
Like ever. Lock him up.
Have you heard about some of the shit that's going on out in like New York? I think.
Hold on. However, just to finish this up. However, just on the potential that a person like the guy who did this thing to Drew Sojin, right?
Yeah, should never.
We can, because some people are falsely accused of rape. We can't put people to death. This is why I'm anti-death
Put
penalty.
that guy in jail forever. Though.
Forever.
Right. Unless evidence.
Because as long as we don't kill him,
show that he's not
exactly
right.
As long as we don't kill him, he can always be exonerated.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time we kill somebody, we can't further exonerate them. It's too late, and it's cheaper to keep them alive.
Yeah,
because of our appeal system.
The only
reason I don't want to change the appeal system is because of the first argument
that I found compelling was
now I can end my rant.
Was that
thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
They go through and they don't, they're guilty. They've done all their appeals. They're not. There's no death penalty or whatever. So now they're going to be in jail until they die, and they have an opportunity to hurt other people while they're there.
Then
solitary. Guards, whatever.
Then solitary.
Yeah, well, in New York right now, you can only put someone in solitary for 15 days. There's a whole thing going on with their corrections officers out there who are pissed off because these criminals will do shit to them. And then
I got a quick solve.
They can only put them in...
bro, I got a quick solve.
Well, change that law, obviously.
No, I got a quicker solve. Okay, you need social? Okay, cool. You need outdoor? Cool. We'll put you with all the other pedophiles and rapists.
Right.
Fucking lunatics.
Yeah, enjoy yourself.
This is not rocket science, is what I'm getting at.
But
we can have extreme ethics. We can be the greatest moral authority on the planet and still do all of these things.
Yeah, so at any rate.
Sorry, I'm not trying to bully you, dude.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm
getting a little buzzed up, homie.
I don't think that at all, dude. But, I don't remember. I'm not sure where I was going with that. But anyways, we can get off that topic. And
one thing I want to hit on hard, and I want you to kind of pick how you want to get there. Now, let's segue into anything you want to, but eventually, before we get out of here, I want to talk about Doge.
Oh, Doge.
So badly. That's the main reason
we'll end
I
with
wanted
that.
to have you on. Well, I want to end with the fun music stuff. So let's whatever you want to talk about now, let's pick that topic, and then let's figure out a way to get to Doge, and then we'll end with all the fun music stuff so we can end on a high note.
Okay, cool. So we'll go back to the broken leg situation that I had a while ago that kind of took me out of doing live music and stuff. So, I was in quite a few bands. I was in the band called Bilderberg, which was basically in the morning, but with a different bass player. Essentially, we had Kenner Segrist on bass instead. And
Kenner?
Yeah. It was great being in a band with him.
I remember Kenner from A52.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Good friend. So, yeah, we've put out a EP that we recorded with Jeff Halland from Houston, which you apparently don't know about that band, which I'll send you some music later. Unbelievable band.
Are they online?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they did
Houston
some reunion
from
stuff.
Minnesota.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason,
their sound was kind of modeled.
Set your phone down and set the weed down. The band Houston from Minnesota, you son of a bitch.
They were kind of
dealing with
sounded a lot like another band that
Houston
I was really into. That I'm.
They spelled like the city.
All of a sudden, just like the city.
Houston band, Minnesota.
Why can't I think of this band? They're like one of my favorite bands ever of all time. They're from the Midwest. Shit. Shiner, the band Shiner, if you know them.
No, I've never heard of them either.
Similar
What the fuck is going on tonight?
Yeah, there's a lot of music.
Are these bands that were like big when you started?
They were like Shiner was regionally kind of big.
Back in the day when you started?
Yeah.
Okay. So this might make more sense because these
like early
are probably
2000s.
bands right before I jumped in.
Yeah. A little before your time. Maybe.
Is that them?
Yeah. Yep.
Should we play one of their songs?
Yeah, let's try.
We don't have permission, so we're gonna get flagged. We're gonna get demonetized, but let's do it. What one should we play? And we won't even do the whole song, but let's play a part of one of their songs.
Go. Oh shit! Jake recorded. My bandmate Jake is the one that recorded that top video.
The Minneapolis band.
Yeah.
Well,
Jake
that's
Roback.
26 minutes long, so we're not playing. that
Jake.
one.
He was a singer of In the Morning and the other guitar player.
Luke Combs. Oh, that's Luke Combs. That's not it. Play that one.
Click the first one.
No, not the first one. That's 26 minutes long. Click the second one.
No, but it's a live. Like that is definitely not the Houston that I'm talking about.
Okay. Go back. He's right. Jesus Christ. God
so.
damn it. I don't like it when other people are right. I'm joking. I'm okay with
go to the band camp. Go down to the band camp.
No, just click the. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, go to Bandcamp.
See if this is the right one.
Accept.
Do they have like a discography? Or do they only have the one record?
This is why Bandcamp sucks. Back up. Go to that first video that he said is the right one. No, that one.
Yeah, there you go. That's just this is them playing live, so I'm not sure how good the quality is.
Turn the volume down on the YouTube. Oh, that still sounds like shit.
Oh yeah, I can't even hear it in here, so.
I'll tell you right now, the drummer's legit.
Oh, the drummer is amazing. But the guitar player, Jeff, he's the one that recorded
but I'll tell you all day long, I don't care how shitty your recording is. I can tell you if your drummer's legit, that drummer's legit, dude.
Yeah, this band.
And I only needed
really
about
great.
7 seconds to tell you whether he was good or not.
So yeah, anyways, so Bill.
That drummer's legit, dude. All right, kill it, Jason. It's good.
Yeah, the sound is probably not the best.
No,
I can't hear it.
It's horrible. So. It's unbearable.
Unlistenable. Unbelievable band. Though. I'll send you some. I'll send you some recordings.
It sounds like exactly what you think it sounds like.
Yeah, I'll send you some recordings, man. Like you'll love this band. They're so good. And Shiner too. I'll turn you on to them too. There's probably like a lot of bands like that I'm into that you've never heard of. I'm not trying to be like a hipster. Because I hate that shit, but
I mean it's cool though.
But yeah,
it's cool to be the guy who can be
but
like,
there's
hey,
just like this scene that I got into.
Let me put you on these bands, bitch.
You get onto these certain bands, and then other people that like those bands tell you about these other bands that you've never heard of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's cool.
Like it just kind of grows.
Yeah, no.
It's the same in like the metal community. You know, there's a lot of metal bands that you could probably rattle off that I've fucking never heard of. You know,
no. Probably not.
But so anyways, so
probably not, dude.
So I was playing with that band that was just all original music, and then I was in the Foo Fighters for about 8 years doing the Foo Fighter tribute thing. I was in a cover band for
let's pause
15
on that
years
for a second.
called Back Alley.
Let's pause on the Foo Fighters thing for a minute.
Yeah, so I was one of the founding members of that band.
Because the Foo Fighters are dope.
Yeah, we were. It was really fun.
You guys were
we were
really
a good band.
Good.
Dennis does the. Dennis did the Dave Grohl like perfect, and it was funny because I was in a band with the bass player Stunner, called Deja Voodoo that just did.
Great band name.
Covers and stuff. Yeah, well, it's a song named by blues guitar player Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and that's I think where they got the name from. It was a very short-lived band because the drummer that was in the band was in a terrible accident and like smashed up his arm. Like there was some huge structure he was building over in Eden Prairie. It was supposed to be like a sports like thing. And the guys that put the posts in for the big beams of the frame of the structure didn't put them deep enough and didn't use the right viscosity of cement for that. Really? And so while he was up there like doing some shit in one of those whatever those buckets, I forget what they're called, but you know they get into it and it lifts them up, you know, so they can do work and whatever. It's like a bucket that they kind of sit in.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Anyway,
but again, just like residency, I can't think
of
what
it's
the name.
called. So whatever that is,
we call it a bucket.
He was in that, and something failed, and all of the frame just went down like dominoes, and he threw up his arm like just at the right time, and it hit his arm, and his head got all messed up. Anyway, so it made it obviously he couldn't play drums.
Yeah,
so the band kind of just disbanded. But while we were jamming with that band, Stunner, he had been in a AC/DC tribute band called TNT for a long time.
A cherry picker. God damn it. Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You know, they did very well around town here and regionally. So he was trying to come up with a new band to do a tribute thing to, and he kept throwing out different ideas.
Well, cherry picker's actually just to pull an engine out of a car. But anyways, keep going.
Anyways, so So one day he came in, he goes, I figured it out. I figured out the band I'm going to do a tribute for. It's going to be Foo Fighters. And I was like, at the time I was already in like 5 bands, but I was like, fuck, I have to be involved. And I'm like, and I know the perfect drummer, and I know the perfect guy to do Dave Grohl. And I'm like, and I'll do the other guitars. And so I literally texted Lee, the drummer that was in the morning. Yeah, Lee
friend
Underwood.
of the podcast. Yep. She's been on the podcast.
Oh, she has?
Yep.
Oh, nice. I should check
way
that out.
back in the day.
I think I remember that, actually. I think I remember that. And then Dennis from Casanatra, he's also in...
Maybe one of the best musicians in town.
Seriously. One of the greatest guitar players. He's so fucking good. And amazing singer.
It's not just his guitar playing. It's not just his singing.
It's songwriting. He's full package.
No, it's just him, dude.
Yeah.
It's him.
He's got
Dennis Asher.
He's got a thing.
Dennis Asher is the man.
Yep. He's a fucking rock star, dude.
Dennis Asher is the man.
I can't believe he's not famous. It blows my mind. I can't believe I got to be in a band with him for 8 years.
The biggest disappointment currently, right now, of the Minneapolis music scene is not making Dennis Asher a national name.
Like, seriously, he should be a national treasure by now.
No, he should be.
I don't get it.
There's
everything he does is great.
There is zero reason why you could evaluate Dennis Asher, and I don't know this guy. I've evaluated him from afar. And I mean evaluated as in, like, I'm an NFL scout. Like
looking for musicians.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's the guy.
Yeah, he's amazing.
No, that's the guy.
And he's like a really great human being too.
Jason, clip that.
So there's that too. So
already done.
Anyways, where was I? Okay, so
you're starting Foo Fighters?
Oh yeah, we basically, I texted him and said, hey, do you want to be in this Foo Fighters tribute band? And they were both like, sure, why not? And then Stunner and I came up with like 6 or 7 songs, and I texted him and said, hey, learn these songs and we'll get together on this day. You know, it was like 2 weeks out or something. We all came, we met in my basement, because at that time most of my bands were jamming in my basement, so I had them over. And we literally, like, we played these songs like really fucking well. Like, you would have thought that we were a band, like, and this was like our
day
12th
one.
Rehearsal or something, and not the first day that we ever all played together.
Oh, not day. I'm sorry, I misspoke when I said.
And I had jammed with everyone.
I meant as in day one. You knew this was the band.
Yeah, it was like, we all looked at each other like, holy shit, like this is great, you know. And so then, you know, for 8 years I did that, and for the last couple of years I was trying to quit because my back was just so bad. I couldn't handle the 3 hours on my feet, you know, every weekend, 2 nights. I mean, I was pretty much gigging every weekend, both nights, playing weddings, you know, in the afternoon for acoustic guitar, doing my own acoustic gigs. So it was just getting to be too much. And but they just kept pushing me to keep doing it. And then finally I broke my leg. I was in the shower and my knee just gave out, and I broke my leg. It was crazy.
Right.
Like, somehow I've waddled, you know, on one foot back to my room and got some clothes on, and I called Chia.
Holy shit.
And he came to help me. I thought, you know, maybe if I got my crutches, if he got my crutches out of the car, that I could maybe crutch to the car and get a ride to the hospital, but it was like pretty quickly apparent that shit wasn't happening. So kind of wheeled me into the living room in my office chair, and then I sat there and just had a few smokes because I knew they were going to be my last cigarettes for a while at least. And we called the ambulance, and I went, and I had broken my tibia.
Because actual smoking fucks with your circulation,
Right.
so like it's not good for you.
Right.
So you gotta quit smoking.
Exactly.
Like nicotine is one thing, but actual smoking.
Yeah, exactly. So my tibia plateau is what I had broken, and that's where your tibia meets your knee joint.
Yeah.
It's in the joint. And
In the joint.
Yeah, and so
Holy fuck.
so I'm in the hospital. They
basically broke your knee.
Yeah. But
basically.
Yeah. So then they braced, you know, the leg and whatever, and it was like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to take care of myself, so I'm going to have to stay in one of these homes. So they moved me to this home in Bloomington. And right away after I got in there, I started feeling really sick. And I was like, vomiting and like a lot. And it was just a shitty place. Like they didn't come with my pain meds when they were supposed to. They didn't take care of me well. It was like dingy. And anyways, after like 2 days,
worse than this basement, did you?
Oh my God! And after like 2 days,
the basement's not that bad. My basement's not that bad, you
Yeah,
guys.
it was
But I'm
terrible,
just saying,
dude.
it's still a basement, right? So like,
and after
was it worse than this? Feel worse than the environment,
like
the airflow,
the vibe.
Yeah,
like,
the air.
Yeah, it was dark in there. It just wasn't good.
Just
and
stanky,
I'm throwing up all the time. And finally, I'm like, I can't. Like, you need to get a doctor here or something. And they're like, well, a doctor doesn't come until this day. And I'm like, well, then I need to go back to the hospital or something. They sent me back to the hospital. They put this tube down my nose to, like, suck stuff out of my stomach because something was wrong with my stomach. And I use a CPAP to sleep. So I couldn't really get the mask on because I got this hose coming out of my nose.
Oh, because you need.
So they've tried to use like this thing that went over my whole face, like a visor type thing. It did not work very well. So I was literally laying there for like a week, not sleeping, just with my leg broken and this tube in me. And then they finally, they kept trying to take pictures to find out what was going on in my stomach. And finally, like this surgeon he came in and he was like, okay, we're going to go take some more pictures. And then he actually came back in like 2 minutes later and he's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm sick of seeing you there, like suffering for days and days. Like, we're just going to go in there and we're going to do surgery and we're going to find out what's going on when we get in there and we're going to fix it.
Jason, will you grab me a beer, please?
So
bring it around the back, please.
So within like minutes, all of a sudden now I'm doing this like major fucking surgery, and so they did that, and
you think you're going in for whatever? And
yeah, it was like just a broken leg,
Now it's getting serious.
Something I've dealt with a million times in my life, Fuck. And yeah, now there's this weird stomach thing going on. I'm laying there for a week, trying to figure out what's going on with that, and I got the broken leg. It was, terrible. And then, so they did this surgery and they did find out what was wrong and they fixed it. There was some sort of tear in there or something, and so they stitched it up. And so I think all told, I was in the hospital for a little over 2 weeks.
Jesus Christ, dude.
And then it finally moved to a new rehabilitation facility for me to stay in until, my leg healed, and then I had to do PT there. So I was there this happened in March. It was like March 15th. So I'm actually coming up, it'll be 7 years ago, I think, that this happened now. So it'll be 7 years since I smoked a cigarette, because the day that I broke my leg was the last day I had a cigarette. I figured I'd at least get one good thing out of it, was I'd finally quit smoking. And I did, and I haven't had a cigarette since.
Good for you, man.
His cigar is the only thing I've smoked in 7 years.
Isn't it different?
Oh, totally different than smoking a cigarette.
Totally different.
I'm not
right?
inhaling it or anything.
No,
I still feel like I kind
inhale.
of got a little buzz from it, though. I had to.
Fuck the inhale. Though.
I had to
fuck
stop.
The inhale. Fuck the inhale. Fuck
Yeah,
fuck
I
the
don't
entire
inhale,
idea
yeah.
of inhaling. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Eliminate. You took 12 puffs. Let it go out. The experience of those 12 puffs is a completely different experience
Than
from when
cigarettes.
you were toking cigs.
Oh, yeah, totally different.
Token cigs is like a maintenance. It's like an oil change. Like, it's more of a relief than an enjoyment.
Yeah.
Smoking a cigar.
Yeah, it was just nice. I kind of liked it.
It's just.
I can see why people do
Yeah,
it.
dude.
I can see why people
Even
do
if
it.
you smoke a lot of cigars, like I do. I smoke a lot of cigars. I smoke at least a cigar, maybe 2, maybe even 3 a day. If I'm on vacation, I'll smoke 4 cigars a day. I don't give a fuck.
That's a
But
lot.
I don't inhale any of them. Actually, I do a little bit. Like, I get a little secondhand,
I think I probably had a little bit here and there.
Yeah. But it's an experience. It becomes
yeah.
a different vibe, and I am 100% certain that it is not the same level of nicotine addiction.
Yeah, I doubt
because
it.
no matter how bad I want a cigar, I never.
It's not like
get
a nick
bitchy.
fit. Yeah,
I never get the nick fit. I never snap on people. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not a thing.
It's definitely different.
So
I
am
tell.
now convinced, and now we can pivot back into what we were talking about before, or we can keep going in what you were talking about. You can pick the subject. I'm now convinced that additives into cigarettes are what causes all the problems.
It's
not the tobacco and the nicotine themselves.
Yeah, I mean, the nicotine is a problem, I'm sure, but those other whatever the fuck else is in there is definitely contributing to that, I guarantee.
I heard an analogy one time that makes a lot of sense, and there's some science to back this up, and I can tell by your body language you got to take a stretch soon.
Yeah, I got to stand up for a second.
We're going to take a break here in a minute, but before we do take this break, I will say this. I heard an analogy and read an article because I thought this guy was full of shit, but I read the article that he cited, and there was good science behind it that said guys who are addicted to IPAs are not just addicted to the alcohol. The ingredients that go into an IPA are psychologically as equally addictive as the alcohol themselves.
No shit.
Yes. And what they were getting to is the idea of the palate, the tongue addiction.
Mm-hmm.
So once you get addicted to hops, because that's the point, you get addicted to hops. Once you get an affinity for this strong IPA, you can't go back to light beers.
Yeah.
So what they were saying is psychologically, not chemically, not physically. And Jason, you could probably pull this up, but this was an old article, which I don't know if you can find this. But the ingredients in an IPA are just as addictive as the alcohol itself when it comes to craving a taste for certain alcohols. Not just getting drunk. It was, what do I want to drink? I'm going to get drunk tonight. What do I want to drink?
Yeah.
I crave IPA. It's because the hops and all the other things that go into are just as addictive as that. That kind of reminds me, and as far as an analogy goes, to what you're kind of talking about.
Yeah.
It's kind of a similar thing. We're going to take a break real quick. He's got to do some stretching. I got to take a leak anyways. We're going to play a song. Let's see. What did we play earlier, dude? Before we started playing this.
Play The Void.
We play The Void a lot, dude. We can't play The Void again.
Oh, less.
We just did that before the podcast started. Hit me with one more. Let's do Interest. No, we did Introspect too. Let's do Senescence. He hasn't heard Senescence. All right, mute the mics. I'm going to take a leak. We'll be right back.
Don't know if this will ever be over. You speak underneath your breath. Spare me all those dirty looks. You mind yourself, you mind what you took. Shine a light on backdrop eyes underneath me now. The creature dies, got me feeling worn out and cold. I close my eyes. Comes, you'll find what it does. it comes for me, like it came for you, well, I don't know what I will have to do. When it comes for me, like it came for you, well, I don't know what I will have to do. When it comes for me, like it came for you, well, I don't know what I will have to do.
Unmuted? We should be good, right? Yeah, we'll stick here for a minute. Go see if my wife's got some Tylenol.
Oh, that'd be great.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah. Oh, about Asuna? Yeah, that we were talking about him. Small world.
It is a small world.
But yeah, I can't wait till you guys let me know when that comes out, because I'll definitely give a listen to it with my bro. My bro will dig this, I guarantee.
That's awesome.
Like, the first thing I thought was, I got to show this to Al.
I'd love to get you out to a show, dude.
Yeah, at some point, maybe. I don't go to too many shows now unless there's, like, seating, you know? And I actually got
I could make that happen.
7th Street Entry one time actually accommodated me, and, you know, I sent him a message, and I was really impressed with the staff there, because they said they'd set up a sturdy chair for me that I could fit in on the little, like, you know, that little riser that's in the room. They were going to put it right up on there, and then when I got there, I just tell them I'm there, and they'd you know, make sure no one fucked with it, and that would be where I could
That's what I
chill.
love about liberals, dude.
So they were just
They're so
very
compassionate.
accommodating. Yeah, very nice. I thought that was a really nice thing. And there's other venues that I've called, you know, to see if I could get any sort of accommodations in that way, and they never emailed me back or returned calls, and, you know, and I think they probably just weren't good at looking at their emails and whatever. So I didn't take it as like a slight or anything, but I was disappointed. There's a couple shows like at the Amsterdam that I wanted to go to that I didn't want to show up and then find out that they couldn't accommodate me, and now I just wasted a trip out there, you know.
Well, and it's weird too, because like ADA laws and shit, they have to try to make reasonable accommodations.
Right. Yeah, and I don't ask for anything crazy. I just want a chair that's somewhat comfortable. It's not a folding chair.
Right.
Like, that's not going to work for me.
Right.
But, you know, that's big enough for me, and that's it. Like, it doesn't have to be all super cushy or super nice. Like, I'll deal with it, you know. My back's going to hurt regardless.
Right. Well,
and I'm going to bring my pain medication with me so I can get through it. Like, that's the only way I can do it.
Well, that's a crazy thing, dude. Guys my size, I have back problems.
Right.
My back hurts.
Well, it's partly from my disease too. You know, like I've got. I think one of the discs they called mutilated, but in my lower lumbar.
You have a mutilated disc?
Well, yeah, dude.
I've never heard of a mutilated disc.
Like, yeah, right. And when I switched primary doctors,
what did you do to that poor thing?
My primary doctor has been handling my pain management for me, because I actually get, compared to other people that would be in my condition, like the amount of pain medication that I take every month is like pretty low. I only get 65 milligram oxycodones a month, which sounds like a lot, but I mean, I need to take at least 3 of them for it to do anything.
Damn.
For my pain.
Damn.
Most people would take 10 milligrams.
Jesus Christ.
I take 15. And so you can go through those pretty quick. You know, that's only 20 doses for the whole month. If you have a real bad couple days, you might take 4 doses per day. So I've learned to stretch them out, you know, only take them when I really need them. And then otherwise I use like, what's that oil?
No Tylenol?
It's okay.
No
It's actually, I'm actually starting to feel better for whatever reason. Sometimes you sit a certain way.
Take a couple of sips of that, buddy.
I've had a little bit of that. That's
Take a couple of sips of that, buddy. You're a big guy. You're not getting drunk.
No. So, shit, where was I going with that?
I don't know where we were
What
going.
was I even talking about?
There's 3 more subjects. I don't think we're going to get to them, but there's 3 more subjects I want to cover with you.
Shit. There was a direction we were going. Whatever.
I don't
those
remember
gummies
either,
are
buddy.
working.
The gummies are kicking in. I can't do the
there.
gummies. I can't do the gummies on a podcast, dude.
Yeah, I get it.
The light ones, like the 10 millis.
If I took
I can do those.
If I took like 3 of those, sometimes I'll take 3 or something. It depends on how long it's been. If I haven't had any for a couple weeks, I'll only take like 1.5 of those things, because otherwise like one time I accidentally took 2 after I hadn't taken them for like 3 weeks, and I was like, oh no, like I regretted it because it was too much.
Do you ever do mushrooms?
I've done that a couple times in my life, and I loved it, but I'll never do it again. Cause
did it help with the pain?
Both times. Yeah, I've heard about like microdosing with that stuff. I don't know much about it. All I know is when I did it, like, it was very fun. I definitely saw some visuals, and it was enlightening in a way, I guess. Sure. But both times the next day I had like heart palpitations for a while.
Really?
And it freaked me out, yeah. So this second time was like, it was, okay, it's undeniable that it's from that. And then I was like, okay, I'll just never do that again, which was fine.
Fair.
But I'm glad that I got
fair.
to experience it. It was very fun. I never would do acid or anything. That
the only
always
reason I
weirded
even
me out.
ask you about mushrooms or any of that is because sometimes, not all the times, there's been a couple times where it's backfired, where I'm suffering from severe back pain, and doing the mushrooms relaxed my muscles enough to where not only did it get rid of my back pain, it synchronized my mind, body, and spirit to listen and go, oh, it's in this specific spot of your back. And not only did it eliminate the pain while I was doing my deal, it allowed me to listen and understand my body, to like put my body in the viewers on YouTube will see this. The listeners are fucked. But it would show me to put my shoulder in a specific spot and then reach out and grab my leg and then stretch. And I could stretch a muscle that I never understood needed to be stretched. And the
I think you were just really high, man.
No, the relief,
really?
Like the shit I've and then I would wake up, and weeks later, I'd be doing that same stretch.
No shit.
And it fixed so, because
that's wild.
It showed my body my brain how to listen to my body.
Yeah, interesting.
And it showed me all these things to do, and like ways to like feel. And when Tim Java, the drummer from Dead to Fall, he came on the podcast, he talked about a drummer that talked about sitting at his drum set and like just sitting. And he goes, oh, wait, I have some tension in this part of my body. Let me stretch that out. And it just 100% was like, yeah, that's what I do on mushrooms. Now, what I'm getting at is there's also been one or two times where the pain I was suffering from was not directly muscle related. It was nerve related.
Yeah, that's the problem with my back.
So when I took mushrooms on those trips, it created a bad trip.
Oh.
Because no matter how much stretching I did,
yeah, you couldn't fix it.
Nothing changed. And the only thing, as I got higher and higher on my mushroom trip, it just amplified the pain.
Yeah, and then you got more frustrated with it. Yeah.
Yep. And it actually turned it into a bad trip.
Uh-huh.
So it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
But it can be a helpful idea if the pain is the right type of, if it's purely a muscle pain.
Yeah, see, mine's not. Mine would definitely be the wrong type of pain.
If
because it's definitely nerve. There's sciatica involved. And
then mushrooms will just
there's
accentuate
like discs
that. Pinched
up against nerves. And so like when my doctor left and I had to get a new GP, he was real weird about the pain medication, because they're so strict on that now, that he was just like, thought I was just a drug seeker and like full of shit about my pain. And I was like, dude, like look at my x-rays. And he said, well, let's just do some new x-rays of your back. And he was like really kind of being a dick about it. And then he got
more x-rays is more payday for him.
That's why I hate doctors. But, I didn't think that. It's just he was.
I do.
The way he was treating me was like I was lying just to get the pain medication. And then so he looks at the x-rays.
As he runs tests to see if you're lying, he gets paid. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, right. No, I feel you.
Problem.
I feel what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so he does he does the thing, and then he looks at the x-rays and he goes, okay. So I can definitely understand why you'd be experiencing a great deal of pain. Like I totally get it, and I don't have a problem.
So you had some validation.
Yeah, so to begin with, our relationship was pretty rocky. I was like, "Fuck this guy. I'm gonna just have to get a different doctor." Great, now I'm gonna have to shop around for doctors. And then once he said that, we were cool after that, and then it was like totally fine. Yep. And then the next doctor, he ended up moving to Philadelphia or something to be with his wife because she got a cool job out there. I got to know him pretty good, that doctor, actually. I get that way with people. Like I can get him to open
can't
up.
See it.
Yeah, right. So
no, can't see anybody possibly liking you, Jason.
Right. It's funny how many people that just knew my online persona through musicscene.org that just thought that they would hate me when they met me in person, and then
I
when
suffered
they met
the exact
me,
same thing.
They were like, I can't believe that you're that I just thought that I would hate you, and I don't hate you at all.
Verbatim, exactly what I go through daily. Daily.
Yeah.
In fact, Jeremy Blake reached out.
I think it's
recently.
our bluntness or something, because we're so blunt.
Well, here's what I'm going to hypothesize: is Jeremy Blake said something that kind of coagulated a theory I have about people.
Amanda, you're not getting any of my drugs.
So I've confronted Jamal on this on the podcast a couple times. I go, I understand you. I agree with you. And when you're in person, Jamal, you are a very reasonable, sensible person. But online, you come across a little cunty.
A little cunty.
He's never denied this. However, last time he came on the podcast, he goes, true, but you've been on one recently. So this is a person who knows me, loves me, and trusts me. And even he's saying, you're coming across cunty.
Yeah.
He's talking to me.
Yeah, and I get that for the online shit too sometimes.
I think that's what you're talking about.
I'm really blunt.
I don't think you're that blunt.
And the other thing is, I will say things. The thing is, I think the problem is, I will say things in the written word that I would say if we were in the room together, face to face.
But the tone is different.
They don't get the tone. If I said that same shit to them, sitting across the table from them,
keep going, yeah. They
would laugh.
Yep.
Or we would have a good time.
But
with
online,
it doesn't come off the same. And I don't know if I forget that or I'm just like, you know me well enough that you should know that if I, call you a dick face or something, that I'm not really calling you a dick face.
Calling you a dick face.
I'm just calling you a dick face. Like if we were together and I was like, God, you're such a dick face.
The best
would that offend you? That would not offend you. That would make you laugh. And we would both laugh. But if I write that on Facebook, everyone clutches their pearls.
The best example of this
forgets who you are.
Is Michael Scott from The Office. I would never call a gay person gay. And I would never call a retard a retard. But I will call my friend a gay retard when he's being a gay retard.
Yep. And he'll understand.
This is from The Office.
Yeah. And he'll understand.
Yeah, because he's being a gay retard.
He'll be like, oh shit, I am being a gay retard. I should stop doing that.
But I would never, ever call a gay person a fag.
I would never use the word retard to actually mean retards. Like actual retards.
When I say
that's not how I would ever use it.
When I say
that's mean. Why would you be mean like that? When someone's being a retard, you can let them know they're being a retard, and there's no malice there against Down syndrome people.
When I say someone is being a retard or being retarded,
right,
100% of what I'm saying is that you are slowing or preventing progress based on what you just said.
Amanda's makes a good point.
Dude, Amanda makes nothing but good points. She reminds me of my wife so much. It pisses me off. Hold on. We're trying to read her chat for the listeners that are wondering why we just
She's saying that we come off abrasive because we step into conversations where no one's trying to hear our point of view.
Well, and I'm going to use myself as an example.
And I do that. I do that. But at the same time, if you're going to go on fucking Facebook and proclaim your dumbass opinion, I'm going to challenge it.
Let me put this.
And you should be open for a challenge.
Let me put this to a real world. Let me put this to a real world example here, okay? And I'm going to use myself as the example.
Okay.
This isn't me being. We talked about this before, or maybe you were. Maybe it was Jason before the podcast started. This isn't me being a narcissist and making everything about me, but I'm going to use myself as an example so I don't seem like I'm attacking someone else.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. So my homie Sean Ware, post-election, is freaking out. And all I do is...
I love Sean.
all lowercase, no exclamation point, no period, no nothing. I
saw this.
I just said chill out.
Yeah, I saw this.
Chill out. And some random woman, who I'm not going to name because I'm not trying to attack people, she said, that's real easy for you to say because you don't have a uterus.
Yeah.
And I went, irrelevant.
Yeah.
And then she said, how is that irrelevant? And I said, well, I'd like you to explain to me how it's relevant first. From there, this descended into madness.
It was like insane.
Madness.
Everyone was freaking out.
And at some point in time, somebody turned around and pivoted that whole conversation to say that Jared said women are irrelevant.
Yeah.
Which is nowhere even remotely close to anything that happened in that conversation. And some things that were said to me were some of the most heinous, horrible things you could possibly say to another human being. And people came at me and acted as if... I'm going to take a stance
here that is going to piss people off.
Well, just let me set the stage, and then I want
comparative to what you're saying.
I want you to take over and rant because you witnessed this and commented.
Yeah.
And we had private conversations about this.
Yeah, I want to compare this to something.
But I just want to set the stage here. My argument became, okay, no matter what I said, no matter how bad it was perceived, the things that came after that are literally in every possible moral metric.
Like way worse.
10 times worse.
Yeah.
But somehow, I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because I literally said, chill out in all lowercase with no punctuation. And all I was trying to do was calm down a fellow friend who is a grown man.
Yeah,
and where I come from, if I tell a grown man to chill out and they lose their fucking mind, they are in the wrong.
Yeah.
Even if I shouldn't have said chill out in that moment, the way they reacted.
Yeah, it's not the same as telling a woman to settle down or something.
Where I came from,
if you do that, that's a bad idea.
Where I came from, saying chill out is just saying, hey man, chill out.
Yeah. Yep.
But
like the world's not ending. Everything's going to be all right, man.
So I'm going to
that's the vibe that I got from that.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I said.
But
that's
the way
exactly
that this
what
woman
hey,
twisted your words to try to say,
just chill out.
When you said that whether or not you have a uterus is irrelevant, which is true. If you don't have a uterus, you can still have an opinion on whatever the fuck it is. You don't have to be a woman to have an opinion on this thing. That's all you were saying. That is irrelevant. You weren't saying women are irrelevant.
And she knew that.
And she absolutely knew that. But she twisted your words into saying
But it took several steps. She didn't do it right out of the gate.
To me, this is very similar.
It took like 17 steps before the conversation changed to, now Jared is saying women are irrelevant, which was never in the conversation.
He didn't say that. Yeah, he didn't say that.
Pivoted
it twisted your words. So it's the same thing they did to Donald Trump. When he said,
"Oh God damn it! Now I'm fucking Donald Trump."
When he said that,
now I got to really brace. Okay,
when he was in the car with that Bush guy, and they're doing the locker room talk, and he said, "Yeah, when you're famous, women they'll let you do anything. They'll let you grab them by the pussy." That is true. He said something that is absolutely true.
Well, he was also only
if you are a famous
whores.
guy,
he was talking about fame whores. By the way,
there are tons of women that throw themselves at famous people.
Slow down. He was literally talking about fame whores.
Yeah,
because again,
he's talking about women that are into famous guys and go after them.
Exactly.
Those type of women, they will let you do anything if you're famous. They'll even let you grab them by the pussy.
That's the point,
and that's a fact. I guarantee it. There's a bunch of guys that can confirm that shit. They can just do that.
There's a guy
There's women that they can do that with, and it's not doesn't mean that it's okay.
There's a guy.
What he was not saying was that he grabs
okay to do that.
or that he grabs women by the pussy. He didn't say that, and they turned it into Donald Trump just runs around and he thinks that he can just grab women by the pussy. That's what he thinks, that it's okay to do, and then he does it all the time. He grabs him by the pussy. I'm Donald Trump. I grabbed you by the pussy. He did not say that. He said that famous dudes that have these women go after them, they let them do anything. And he could have said any sort of depraved sexual act. He could have said they let you come on their face or whatever. They could say that nasty shit, and they would let him do that.
Yep.
That was his only point. They twisted into this bullshit.
Yep. And this was the first step where I went, wait a minute. Slow down, you guys. Because, again, I'm a libertarian voter in 2016.
I'm trying to defend this guy that I did not want to really defend, because the whole time that in that first election, every time that his poll numbers went up after some crazy shit that he did during the primaries, me and my roommate were like, oh, this is it for him. He's got to be done now. This will end his career. And then his polls would go up, and we were like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, let's back up.
So it's not like I was on the Trump train.
Let's back up.
To begin with,
Let's back up. So I'm a libertarian voter in 2016. I'm not a Trump supporter by any means.
Right, exactly.
But when this happens, they're saying this guy's a liar and everything he says is full of shit.
Yeah.
But then in the same breath, they're saying he's going to walk up and grab women by the pussy.
Yeah, they twist these words.
And I'm like,
every time I go and look at every time I go look at it, I see that they've twisted this into something that it's not. He did not say that. And there's other things that when they said that he said that you should just inject yourself with bleach to kill the coronavirus. He never said that. He did not say that. And actually, what he did say was a factual thing that was happening. He just said it kind of awkwardly and stupidly. but he never said to inject yourself with bleach. So I
His
see these
crime
things,
was not being a
and
great
so
speaker.
I'm going. I see people saying this shit, and then I'm like, actually, I had to be the guy. Well, actually, he didn't say
this guy.
this.
You mean this guy? Well, actually,
I had to be that guy. Well, actually, he really actually said this. If you go and watch the full clip, so you're being a dumbass. And then you hail Trump. You love Trump. Well, no, I just facts matter.
That's what I wanted to get to.
And when people said really stupid shit about Barack Obama, I would call them out on it too. I'd be like, well, as much as I don't like that guy, like that's not true. And I had a habit of doing that too. And so I actually
that's where this started.
Had both sides kind of hating on me for some time.
No, but that's where this started. So people like me voted for Obama in 2008. Sorry. By 2012, I abstained. I didn't vote in 2012. So between 2012 and 2016, I didn't vote, by the way, because he didn't fulfill any of his promises in 2008.
2012 was the last time I voted for a Republican president.
So by 2012, though, I abstained. And so between 2012 and 2016, when I started to criticize him, the rhetoric changed, where you could only possibly be against this guy if you're racist.
Right.
Because, and their logic was, soundly, by the way, they weren't being dumb. They were saying 4 years ago, the same group of people voted for Bush. You supported these policies when it was Bush. So, because they're stupid, they would say, ipso facto, to use Jeremy Blake's words, ipso facto, the only possible way you could be against this is because you're racist. You were okay with this when it was Bush. You're not okay with this because it's Obama, meaning you don't like black opinions.
Got it.
However, what people didn't realize and what the left wasn't willing to admit was people like me who voted for Obama in the first place, voted for him because change. We wanted to get away from the Bush and the Clintons.
Yep.
But he continued it. However, once they gained that momentum, they said, no.
I've never understood how...
Now you're just racist.
I've never understood how people that voted for him...
fucking policies now.
I just never understood why anybody thought it was going to be different, because like everything he ran on was the same.
Well, it wasn't though. It wasn't. Let's be honest. It was hope and change, right? So it was we're gonna get specifically Obama's campaign points where we're getting rid of Guantanamo Bay.
Run on platitudes.
Fair enough, but let's just be honest. We're gonna get rid of Guantanamo Bay. We're going to get rid of private prisons. We're going to get rid of the Iraq War. We're going to get rid of the Afghanistan War. We're going to exit all of these policies. We're going to end the Patriot Act.
That he didn't do that shit.
And not only did he not do any of those things, he doubled down.
Made war, started more wars, expanded wars.
Not only did he not end the Patriot Act, he expanded the Patriot Act to include America as a battleground, which means the NSA can now spy on American citizens.
Yeah, well, and then he droned that American citizen, remember?
Which is
17-year-old
which makes
American.
Sense to you, Jason, because I'm explaining something to you. However, what it didn't make sense to were Democratic voters.
Yeah.
Because they became, and this is the difference, this is the real key to this whole podcast, they became loyalists to anyone in their party, no matter what they said, no matter how much it contradicted the previous 4 years of policy. If the Democrats are doing it, it's now good. If the Republicans are doing it, it's now bad.
Yep.
They established that. Now, why I bring this up is because a homie of mine who I think very highly of, he was the best man in my wedding, told me that somewhere along like 2012, 2014, that the Republican Party put in writing, Jason, that they were going to allow the Democratic Party to decide their positions and the Republican Party would simply be the opposition. However, as much as I believe him to be true in that moment, what I've witnessed is that the Democrats have no position of principle and philosophy. And is what they've done is they've allowed the Republicans to choose a position, and then they pick the opposition. So whatever the Republicans choose, we're the opposite.
Yeah, that's why they're going to lose now. For so many years, the right was kind of...
Even if I'm wrong on that, that's what I believe.
But I do think you're kind of right, like, because for so many years it felt like the right wing and Republicans were being reactionary to everything that the left did. So, they would do this stuff and we would react to it. And we were always on the defensive and always reacting. And now recently it seems like, the right is kind of throwing more barbs out there and saying this is how shit is. And they're reacting to that. And when you're the one reacting, you're the one losing, I think. You're the one losing the culture war. And that's why I just feel like it seems like the right is like on the attack and they're like, we're done with this shit. We're done with this woke shit. We're done with the men playing against women in sports. That shit's not happening. And, I see our leftist friends online saying things, and I feel like they're living in this alternate reality right now as far as how popular what Trump is doing right now is. Because I see them, talking about Doge like it's the end of the goddamn world. Like you want to get to Doge, right? They're talking about it like it's the end of the damn world. Every time I look online, they are fucking freaking out. They're like hysterical. Their Facebook posts are hysterics. Like they're fucking insane. They are freaking out. And I see that, and it kind of makes me laugh a little bit like, Jesus Christ, like tone it down. The world's not ending. We're not in a dystopian hellscape now. Like everything's going to be okay.
Right? Well, and what scares me, dude, what scares me is like, no matter how much Elon and Trump assure everyone, we're not going after individual benefits. And Elon.
It's because the legacy media just lies about it.
Elon just went.
And people see those headlines and they just believe it.
Elon did a speech at that little meeting before the State of the Union, and then did a podcast on Rogan.
Yeah, I saw some of the podcast.
And in both conversations, he said, these emails that we're sending out that says, tell me 5 things you did last week. He goes, we're not asking people to justify their jobs.
Part of it was just fishing.
We're literally asking them to prove they exist.
Yeah, he said that.
Just like he goes, you could even take a picture of something. You could even have the AI generate the picture and send me. But just receiving just try to trick me, and I'll approve you. Yeah. What I'm looking for are people that in departments that don't exist because they're not willing to apply to an email or reply to an email.
Yeah, and it's like, why would you freak out about that?
That makes so much sense when you're a rational person just looking for anything.
Yeah.
But somehow there's an entire chunk of the population, and I'm not even talking about which we probably should talk about, the media companies that are funded by USAID.
Right.
And the moment they were exposed, immediately started publishing articles that are anti-Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yo, it takes like 5 minutes to figure out that these people are full of shit. You just do the research. Are they funded by this agency? Are they being threatened to be defunded?
Watch the montages.
And then watch them do the montage against Elon Musk.
You can see when they get their little marching orders, every goddamn anchor is saying the same fucking thing. They don't even change the words. Like, they're not even smart enough to look at it and go, okay, this is the general gist they want us to get across. but I'll use different words to say this.
They don't even use different words. They just
say it like it's a script.
Yep. I'm a performer.
It's fucking hilarious.
They do it like I do.
Because I know that when they send out those talking points, their idea is to say, say this in your own words. But these guys are so fucking stupid. They just use it like it's a script and just say it word for word. So all of them say the same damn thing. So you'll see,
people don't know what you're talking about right now.
Jason,
people don't know what you're talking about right now. Explain. Give Newman. Give Jason.
So like Sinclair Broadcasting.
What can we search? What? Because I know what he's referring to, but tell him how to search it.
Like you could probably just put in like
politicians echoing.
No, like news anchor.
Well, you might get the old one. We want the new one where
news
it's actual
montage,
politicians. There's a new one where
saying
it's
the same thing or something.
So, I'm gonna.
Oh, you're talking about the
brand
Democrats, like the brand. Yeah. Whatever they all stage like a little.
There's 22.
They put out little videos on their
up to
Instagrams
22.
or whatever, right?
It's up to so I'm gonna.
But
set
that could just be like a campaign. Like I don't see that as being
it can't
as
be.
nefarious.
It can't
I'm just saying I don't see it as being as nefarious as this news thing.
Let me set this up. So we know. Okay, so right there in the bottom right corner, we see that montage right there. TV anchors decrying fake news.
Yeah.
Okay, don't click that. That's the version. That's the metaphor. That's the analogy. Whatever the proper simile. Whatever the fuck. There's the exact same thing happening, but it's with actual politicians now. So it's left-wing politicians spitting a very specific. Joe Rogan just showed it on his most recent podcast. It started off as 2, then it went to like 8, and then it was 16, and they've gotten up to 22 people where they're able to do that exact same thing that you just highlighted in the bottom right corner.
But they're all politicians, right?
But they're all politicians this time, but they're saying the exact same thing verbatim.
Yeah,
so
see,
which means
that doesn't bother me as much.
Actual script. It does bother me. It actually bothers me.
Let me tell you
more.
why it doesn't bother me. Because they're all part of a political party. They're all part of the Democrat Party, and they have a platform that they're all running on. And so that party has a platform, and the people running the party will put out and say, "Hey, this is the message that I think that we should be putting forth."
Okay.
And so they all do that. Like, I don't have a big problem with that. I think they're kind of trying to make a scandal out of, like,
whereas you would be bothered
nothing.
More by the
But
media
you're
because
talking
they're
about
supposed
the media,
to be independent.
Yeah.
I'm bothered the other way.
They're all saying the same fucking thing. To the point where it's creepy, man.
No, that's not it, buddy.
It's, like, creepy as shit when you see it. And it didn't just happen with the Sinclair broadcasting. You look at, like, CNN, MSNBC, any of those, like they all are saying the same shit. Like the whole time when they were defending Biden, like I was amazed when people were shocked.
That's it.
Remember after
that's it right there. That's it. Number 1. You found it. Yeah, just let it play and mute it, and then let him talk. So keep going, Jason. We got to get through this ad.
Oh, there we go. It was a quick ad.
Fast forward. We can't do all this. No, keep going. There it is. Okay. Pause. That's a horrible way to get into that because we don't see any of the setup. So, Jason, you did a great job of finding the final product, but we got to find the setup to that where they show 2 people say it and then 4 people say it and then they add in the 22. So keep that rabbit hole because you found the end product. But basically, it's 22 different senators.
Yeah.
Preaching.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't bother me
here's
as
the
much.
problem. Here's why it bothers me more than the media. Because we know that media personalities are told to say what they say by their bosses, which are told to say what they say by their corporate sponsors. We know that.
Yeah.
What we don't know, quote unquote, hard quotes, what we don't know is that the politicians are equally bought and paid for. That's the difference.
You don't know that? I know that.
Well, I know that, but we don't know that.
I don't know, man. I think it's pretty apparent.
Well, you're not an idiot.
Yeah. Well,
Jason,
I am kind of sometimes.
No, you're not. You're not. You're a very smart person. But that's why this is shocking, and this is going to ruin entire lives. This one clip, if we find the right version of it and show people how it works, it's going to fuck lives up. Because they don't understand that their own politicians that they voted for are not there to represent their opinions. They're there to represent the DNC corporate opinions. Of course. That is not something that most people are ready to listen to or accept.
I thought it was just, like, obvious, I guess.
Yeah, because you're not a moron. That's why it's obvious to you, Jason.
Right.
And I'm not even going to sit here and blow smoke up your ass and tell you you're a genius and you're smarter than everything.
Yeah, I'm not.
No, the reason this is obvious to you is because you're not a fucking moron. You're not an emotionally driven person.
Right. I try to stick with logic. Doesn't mean I don't fail sometimes.
Or principles, which is why I have so much respect for you, and which is why I wanted to have you on the podcast all of this time, is because you have principles, right or wrong. You derive your thoughts from a point of true value and belief.
Right.
That's a principle. Which means when the political landscape shifts, you don't move.
Yeah. Things move around.
Where you align moves.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you have integrity.
But it's based on my principles that are pretty solid at this point.
That's why you have integrity. That's why I respect you.
Yeah. So back to Doge, too, the people freaking out about it.
Yeah, let's get to Doge.
In their minds, like, it's terrible, and everybody hates it, and they think that, like, the average Trump voter, like, is regretting their vote. And I'm just, like, looking at him like, what fucking planet are you living on? Do you know that his speech the other day, like, it was like a really, people supported him, dude.
Play it.
It was like 70-something%.
No, that starts off from the top again. It's too much chaos. We got to find a slower one.
Yeah, there's probably one where it shows like them say a couple things.
Let's see, but it starts off with Trump. So as soon as it starts off with Trump, it makes me nervous. But go ahead. Let's see if we can find it. Look at.
Oh, yeah, there's something weird going on.
Look at it again. It's a picture.
Fuckers.
Look that one. No, not that one. That one.
Yeah, they're all the same.
They're just pictures?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll find it. I'm gonna start doing sub videos.
Anyway, my point is, if you look at the polls, people are supporting this, and even I think even some people that didn't vote for him are supporting it. Like his speech the other day, there was like 76% support. It was like 45% like fully support what he was saying, and then 30% somewhat support. You add that together, and in their mind, like, everybody's like them and they hate it, and it's like, no, I'm loving this shit. I'm loving him cutting this shit, exposing where all this money is going. Like, why would you be upset about finding about fraud and waste and your money going to stupid shit and your money going to basically slush funds for politicians to use for whatever they want? I mean, like $2 billion went to some Stacey Abrams charity or something.
Okay,
like
so let's
she only it was only around for like 3 months before they give her these like $2 billion. Like, wouldn't that money be better given to like some charitable organization that's been in business for like several years, and you can like see what they do with the money they get? Like, why would something that she started 3 months ago to get $2 billion? I'll tell you why, because they're funneling money to each other.
Well, and it seems super
and it's corrupt
obvious.
as shit.
If you're unbiased and you just look at logic,
yeah, and I guarantee there's Republicans doing this shit too. 100%. Fuck them too, man.
100%.
Like, people try to make it into a party thing, and it's about waste and fraud and abuse. And even if it's a drop in the bucket compared to the the full budget or whatever, I still don't care. They shouldn't be funneling millions of dollars to each other and funneling it to stupid shit. Like, that money is still our money, and even though it's a drop in the bucket, it's still something. And you start adding that shit up over time, it starts to be significant. You know what I mean?
It becomes obvious. It becomes super obvious.
Right.
But it can only become obvious if you're willing to look at, to use computer terms, the file path. Right? So, like, where you store this file is a direct correlation to where it started from. Like, we know. You stored it here. This is where it's saved. You moved it to here. You stored it here. It's accessed here. If we look at those things financially, it becomes a clear and obvious path.
I was like, well, what the fuck are you talking
about? You see where I'm going?
Yeah, no, I get it.
A lot of the listeners are not understanding this analogy. Maybe you should explain it.
It
becomes incredibly obvious.
Talking about following the money.
That's exactly
where it
what
goes. Looking past the little whatever they name it, Yeah. Like, I just love how Congress names bills, like the Patriot Act. What, you don't support the Patriot Act? What, are you just not a patriot?
Yeah.
I thought you were a patriot. That loved your country. Obviously, why wouldn't you support the Patriot Act? What a weirdo.
So here's two versions of that. And Rogan preaches one of these, which I laugh at every time he says out loud, because I think when he says this out loud, he doesn't, because he's so rich now, he's been disconnected. And I'm not saying he's controlled opposition. I hate those people. What I'm saying is, okay, I'm going to try to pick my words very carefully.
He's just a dude, man.
If you're not Antifa, well, then you're pro-fascist.
Oh, yeah, the Antifa one.
If you're not MAGA, then you don't like America.
Right.
This is very similar to the rhetoric that you hear from Christians that say you either believe all of the Bible or you believe none of it.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I have to say. All three of those groups, go fuck yourself.
Right.
Because there's as a Christian, there's hugely flawed parts of the Bible that if I sat in front of Jesus, I would absolutely argue, be like, yeah, motherfucker, but what about this?
Right.
And I believe in Jesus. Like, I'm a Christian, but I'm still arguing because this shit is not 100%. Jesus and his philosophy seem to be infallible, but I would still argue. I would still, like, literally stand in front of the Son of God and be like, yeah, but, and then wait to be proven wrong. That's the key there. It's like, I would present my argument and wait to be proven wrong because I know that this person is so wise. Now, when you get to the other versions of this argument and you extrapolate these things down any version of this rabbit hole, those philosophies, those principles, right? They're not that sound. And they quickly fall under the weight of not only observation, but criticism.
Yeah.
I think I said that backwards. But you get my point.
Right.
So it becomes very obvious to me and an interesting and obvious point to me. If you just really take these points of logic and you chase them down the rabbit hole, I'm not sure that the Democratic Party, and this is to go back to all the way where we started this podcast, I'm not sure that the Democratic Party is actually upholding these principles anymore. That's what I'm really getting at the core of my beliefs, as somebody who considers themselves to actually be liberal in a non-woke way.
Right.
I just don't feel like their principles are actually digging to the core of philosophy. I don't think they're principles at all. I think they're beliefs that hold no weight. And when we attack them and we try to get to the core philosophy of what's right, what's American, right? I don't think they're there anymore. I think they're disconnected because they're more worried about appeasing and seeming cool.
Well, they just break everyone up.
Does that make sense?
They just break everyone up into little groups. Everyone's put in their little bucket.
Yeah, you're oppressed.
Here are
but
these people.
The unification prospect of the
you
left
have more
is
oppression than these people, but these people have more oppression points than you because they have this weird like system of deciding who's more oppressed.
It's called deductive reasoning.
And that
what
pulls
they're doing,
you higher up on the hierarchy.
Yeah,
It's
called deductive reasoning.
So fucking weird, man.
It's called deductive reasoning, but the way they're doing it is super gross because here's how they're doing it.
And they think that they're
deductive reasoning.
Everyone else is racist, but they're the ones being weird and racist, man.
But the only way they can possibly do that is by deducing this all to the problem is straight white men who have muscles.
Yeah.
Basically Joe Rogan.
Right. It's their fault.
They've quantified this thing down into a specific personality type. So what they accidentally did is said the problem is the average modern day American man. They didn't realize they were doing that, but that's what they accidentally did. They unified every possible group that wasn't a straight white man. And then they accidentally alienated all straight white men.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, that's what it does seem like. Because there's
it's not
a lot
rocket
of guys
science. It's
that
literally what they did.
Pretty left wing that have left the Democrats.
And they'll actually say that you're a cis.
Yeah, you're a
white man.
cisgender white male. I've seen like the clip of that guy yelling that. It's hilarious. You're a cisgender white male. Like, you can't comment on this because of that. Marr.
Well, guess what, homie? Talk about your cisgendered white males all you want. But guess what? There's cisgendered white males. There's cisgendered black males. There's cisgendered every male. And guess what? Those cisgendered males that you claim are toxic because they have too many muscles and they're into the wrong things.
Built our world.
They're the only people physically creating the barrier between fascist governments conquering us and dictating your speech. The only reason you're able to criticize cis straight males,
especially
is
women,
because of cis straight males.
There is an argument to be made that and this sounds so like almost misogynist, like if you say it, but it's kind of true that like men allow women to be free, basically.
No,
if like men collectively
true.
Just decided tomorrow that they wanted women to live a certain way, like it would be that way. And the reason that you know that is you look at Middle Eastern countries where men do that right now. So it's like the men in America, us evil white dudes, like we're actually pretty good to women, like
the best,
because we could be complete pieces of shit like they are in those Muslim countries where they treat women like trash.
Correct.
And we could just decide to do it, and that would be it. Like you would have no recourse.
And the reason we
do
don't
anything
is because we don't believe in it.
Because it's terrible and it's not a good thing to do.
So all these cis straight alpha males with big muscles that you think are toxic,
they're good. They're good people.
We are the reason. We are the reason you have the ability to have an opinion, to tell us we're toxic.
God,
if we were truly toxic,
it sounds so misogynistic, though. Maybe we're being misogynists.
if we were
I
truly
don't know. Amanda, are we being misogynists?
if we were truly toxic, you wouldn't have the ability to tell us we're toxic. That's the reality that we live in. So let's get into Doge, dude. So
yeah, I'm loving it.
So let's start telling people about everything that you know.
Well, just that there's a precedent for it.
Let's break this down, because I really was hoping you did enough studying and you know what you're talking about.
I know passively, like there was several presidents that did similar commissions going back to Wilson, at least, or even FDR.
So let's start bringing this up.
Like
okay,
FDR
so Jason
had a commission.
Jason, bring this up. So all the way back to FDR to Wilson, oldest version of government efficiency departments, something like that.
Yeah.
Let's see what we get.
There was one that was
while
like
he's searching. Listen, let's get.
It's like some sort of commission. The something commission. There's actually a really good post on X about it by oh man, his name is something silly, like something Esquire. Shit, I can't remember. But he broke it down like by each president that did it and like who spearheaded the thing and what it was called. But they were all versions of Doge. Even Obama and even George W. Bush and Obama both had something similar. Bill Clinton actually tasked his vice president, Al Gore, to spearhead theirs. I can't remember what it was called, but they fired like, I think it's well over 250,000 government workers. It might have been like 350,000 government workers that they slashed. And, they balanced up. They basically got rid of like one big program, essentially, is what it came down to. But it was still a good cost savings, and same sort of thing. It was something that was appointed by the president. It wasn't anything, nobody was like voted on or whatever. It was an appointee of the president in all of these cases. So people try to pretend like there's no precedence for this. Oh, this has never happened before. And it has. They just don't like who's doing it. And guess what? It's the purview of the president. He gets to fucking choose because he's the commander-in-chief. And he chose Elon Musk. Deal with it. And then the people shitting on the kids that are working on this shit with them, look into who these kids are. Sure, they're 20, 22-year-old kids, but they're fucking geniuses. One kid started his own company when he was 15, sold it for millions of dollars, started another company. What the fuck were you doing when you were 15? I can tell you what I was doing. It required a lot of tissues and alone time.
A lot of masturbation.
I wasn't fucking starting any companies, okay? So these are fucking super genius kids. And
let's also
not pretend like they're fucking dumbass high school kids or something.
And let's also say this. When people say Elon Musk has no credentials to have access to
break, he's a fucking billionaire.
He literally has an actual top secret clearance. This guy has been vetted by every version of our government to show he's on the up and up. This guy is
all the freaking out about the data getting into the wrong hands.
Dude,
shut up.
Elon Musk.
So many people have access to that data that you're talking about. Give me a fucking break.
Not only that, Newman, but Elon Musk has actual permission, top secret clearance, to access the most vital data that our government has. So he can go rescue astronauts from the fucking space. Let me put it this way, in case people don't understand what we're talking. If America wanted to get people to the space station, okay, if you're on the left, if you voted for anybody that's not Donald Trump, I want you to listen specifically. The only way we could get people to the International Space Station or back, we had to use Russia.
Yeah.
This is facts. We had to go to Russia and allow our astronauts to go in Russian space shuttles to get up to the International Space Station until Elon Musk. So when you people turn around and tell me Elon Musk and Donald Trump are Russian assets,
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
is literally
So ridiculous.
It's literally the most irrational thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's insane.
Because if you're going to have legal and intelligence level access to allow or have the capability to bring our astronauts to the International Space Station, which is what SpaceX is doing, that means you have already been vetted by the deepest level of our government.
The freaking out about it is
you
just
cannot
insane.
possibly be anti-American if you're sending astronauts to the ISS. The conversation is null and void at that point.
Yeah,
it's over. It's done. Unless you're saying that our government cannot be trusted, which guess what is the exact same thing that the Republicans are saying. Be consistent. Either our government is corrupt or our government isn't. You cannot rail against the same group of people that are allowing this dude to do what he's doing, and then suddenly because one random other guy gets elected to fucking the presidency, suddenly
Amanda
the same
just
guy
said
we were
chill.
just talking about is now a Nazi. This is insanity.
Amanda
Be rational.
Amanda just said chill.
Yeah, everybody says chill.
Man.
Everybody says chill to me.
Oh, she's
And she might be right, but that's not my point.
I think she's poking fun at you for the chill comment earlier.
She's definitely poking fun at me, dude.
Fucking pretty solid.
No,
Pretty
and
solid
that's fine.
callback.
And that's fine, dude.
I like it.
Criticize me all you want, dude, because all the criticisms are legit.
You're not getting much past me, Amanda. I'm pretty fucking sharp.
It just doesn't make any sense. It's not consistent.
Oh, man, I'm starting to hurt.
What time is it?
I think it's about 9:30.
It's getting close to 9.
You want to wrap this up?
Yeah, let's wrap it.
All right.
Let's wrap. This has been fun, though.
What are your
man.
final thoughts?
Fuck. Let's just... One last thing about Trump with the foreign policy shit. Like, some of it I'm like, I don't get what's going on here. But I just know that when he was in office before, like, shit was going pretty fucking good foreign policy-wise. So I think he's got something figured out. And so I'm just going to kind of, like, I'm just not an expert on it. So I'm just going to trust that, you know, he's got it worked out and he's going to figure it out. And maybe he'll fuck it up and I'll be pissed off in a couple of years.
Sure.
We'll see.
You go back to being
right now, I'm going to
libertarian.
give him the benefit of the doubt because that first term, like, he came up with, like, multiple Middle East peace deals that were, like, that if any other president did, they would have gotten multiple Nobel Prizes. People would have been, like, sucking his dick on national television. For, like, CNN anchors would have been, like, if Obama did this shit, oh my God, they would have just filleted him on national television. But it was Trump, so he got no. It was like second page news. No one talked about it. It was insane to me. But so because he did that, I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. He's all the nonsense about him cozying up to dictators is so fucking stupid. He's like the only president that's taken on the Chinese in my lifetime, and he's picking up right where he left off with them. You know, he's not going to let them pull this bullshit anymore. And so the idea that, like, he's cozying up to Xi Jinping or whatever the fuck is that poo-looking motherfucker is named.
Yeah.
It's just dumb. And like, just because he talks to the guy in North Korea doesn't mean that. I mean, he talks shit to that guy too. He called him the Rocket Man. It's just everything is so.
He did. He literally did.
They're either like he's going to start World War III by rattling the cages of Kim Jong Un or Il or whichever one it is, and then in the same breath they're like he's cozying up to them. He wants to be like a dictator. He loves them.
Well,
so
let me throw
just
this
a second
in there.
ago he was going to start World War III because he was rattling their cage. Now you're saying that they're like pals and they're jerking each other off or something.
Let me throw this.
Like, what is going on here?
Let me throw
it's
this.
Just fucking retarded.
When people were like, he's not condemning Russia fast enough. He's not condemning Russia hard enough. I remember watching that interview in real time and going. I watched it in real, and I remember thinking, "Oh, motherfucker, you better be careful, because if you flirt with Russia too hard, you're gonna send a mixed message."
Yeah.
And then when he started going hard on Zelensky, it became, and this is
everyone blew up.
This is when
Zelensky came crawling right back the next day.
But this is when it becomes.
Did you see what Zelensky said the next day?
But here's my point.
Unbelievable turnaround.
But here's my point.
Everyone said it was the end of the world. He comes back and says, "We're willing to take any deal that Trump wants to give us, and we'll sign whenever.
So here's
wherever he wants to do it, we'll sign it."
You kind of preempted my. You kind of stepped on my touchdown call.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You're fine. But here's what I saw in
I just
real
had
time.
to get there because it was so funny to me.
And it's important. It's important though. Even though you stepped on my touchdown call, you still set it up great. Because here's what I saw. What I saw, and this is in real time. I'm going, yeah, don't kiss Putin's ass. I mean, don't bust his balls. You got to be very careful about this, Trump. And then as the conversation went on, it lined up with almost, and I emphasize almost exactly how I would have handled that. Publicly, I'm sitting in front of Zelensky on the world stage,
giving a beating.
And I'm going, listen, motherfucker, you don't have the cards to play here. And then Zelensky goes, I'm not playing cards. And then what I would have said is, it's a fucking metaphor, idiot. You're not understanding the point we're trying to make here. You're running out of chips. And then he goes, I'm not playing poker. And then I would have went, you're still not getting the metaphor, motherfucker. You don't have any assets to leverage anymore.
Yeah, you got nothing.
What I'm telling you is, publicly, in front of the world, and I kind of have to wave the flag here because you're being an idiot, we're not going to back you anymore. And I'm pointing as hard as I can. We're not going to back you anymore. But then guess what's here happening?
It's just a show for Putin.
In a secret phone call with Putin, I'm going, listen, motherfucker. Listen, motherfucker. I'm not going to ostracize you publicly. But listen, we're on a private phone call right now, Jason. You're Putin. I'm saying, listen, motherfucker. I'm not going to ostracize you publicly because I understand you need to defend your sovereignty. We don't want to go to World War III. But guess what? I'm gonna make this situation clear that we're not gonna fund your enemy openly, aggressively. However, you got about 15 fucking minutes to decide whether you're gonna fuck off or not. Because you don't want us to formally join this war.
Yeah,
okay?
See,
you got this? Do you understand this, Putin?
That's
Putin,
the overarching point.
Putin, shut up.
Is we don't know all the shit that's going on in the background.
Putin, do you understand this?
That's the point.
Putin, do you understand this? Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Hold on. I'm going to go back to Zelensky. And then you go back to Zelensky. And now we're on the public world stage.
Yeah.
And you're playing this game. And then here's the key. Here's the point.
There's different
Trump
things
said
going on in the
publicly,
background than what's going on public. I'm just trying to frame up what you're saying.
But he did say this publicly. Here's the key. You're correct. But what he said is, he goes, what do you expect me to do? I'm going to talk a bunch of shit about Putin publicly and then get on the phone with Putin and go, hey, man, you want to make a deal? He actually said this.
Yeah.
And this is the chess. This is the fucking chess. This is the point. He's so 4D on this vibe that he's telling you what he's going to do. He's telling you what the counter is going to be. He's telling you what his counter is going to be. and he's doing it all publicly. This is the move.
But there's
so what he's saying, because I'm telling you,
my point is there's different things going on in the background.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at.
That's how negotiations work.
That's what I'm getting at.
Very complicated. And so to take
We're
every
talking
little
about World War III.
Yeah, and to take every little thing that he says publicly and dissect it and go, oh my God, he said this. That means he's trying to start World War III.
But
it's like, no, that's not what the fuck's going on. That's a one little fucking tacit of a full thing that's going on. And so just chill out. And that's why I'm putting my faith in that he knows what he's doing. He's got some pretty good advisors, and hopefully he doesn't blunder this shit like other presidents have.
But the key here,
foreign policy is really difficult, man, and most people fuck it up.
But the key here, to tie it into what we've been talking about all night, Jason, is that
why did I bring this up?
The key here, to tie it all back in and to wrap this podcast up is, out of context, they bring up that first part of that conversation and they cut him off.
Yeah.
Mid quote.
Yeah.
And what they don't
even
show.
Before, do they show the 30 minutes before that little 10-minute exchange?
What they don't show.
Nobody's seen that 30 minutes.
But what they don't show
provides a lot of context.
What they don't show is him saying out loud. He goes, because the press jump in. And he goes, so what you're asking me to do is talk a whole bunch of shit about this guy publicly.
Yeah, exactly.
And then get on a phone call and be like, hey.
That's not how negotiating
works.
And
he literally did this. He goes, you want me to say.
I saw the clip, dude.
Putin. And then you want me to jump on the phone call and be like, hey, Putin, how about a deal?
Yeah, I saw it. Like, it was funny.
I'm not trying to convince you of anything.
Yeah, I know.
I'm using you as a sounding board to, like, just, you guys, come on. Fucking do the research, man. Fucking look at the bigger picture. Like, I don't agree with Trump on Ukraine. I think we should back Ukraine. I think we should fight Russia. And fuck a proxy war.
End this fucking war as soon as possible.
And I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum.
We don't need to put boots on the ground.
I agree with the Democrats. I agree with the Democrats. Put boots on the ground. Let's fucking go fight a war. Because I think Russia is that big of a threat. However, terrible. a bona fide conservative disagrees with me, but guess what happens? Guess what happens at the end of this fucking podcast?
Still shake hands.
We're fucking bros.
We're buddies.
We're bros. We probably have more respect for each other.
Disagree a bit, but that's fine.
I have more respect for you tonight at the end of tonight than I did at the beginning. And I have always had respect for you, but no matter how much we agree or disagree
more about each other,
my respect for you has grown.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you're a civil human being. And if the left did more of this, we wouldn't be in this fucking problem.
Yeah, can you get some left leaning guys on your program?
I invite them, but they say this is a quote. I'm not willing to come on your podcast because, especially now that you have a producer, you're just going to twist every search and every topic to bend to your will.
Yeah, I don't think that you.
No, that's just called me being right. No. Here's the point. When I bend people to my will, it's because I'm fucking right, dude.
Yeah.
It's not because I choose to be right. It's because I picked the correct moral topic.
Right.
And I'm not going to back off this hill, dude. I'm a good person. I'm not always right, dude. But my principles are always correct. And my principles will always lead me to the truth. Jason, I love you, dude.
Love you, man.
Let's wrap this up, dude. You got your YouTube channel to plug. It's in the description. I love you guys so much, man. Like, subscribe. Help us get to 500 subs so we can get our producers paid. Please like and subscribe beyond that so we can get to 1,000. Let's fucking do this, man. Man, I love you guys. Let's get the fuck out of here. We don't have a proper intro, so we're just going to wrap it up. 1, 2, 3. Love you guys.